Shut up. Shut up.
What's up, everybody? It's Blade Daily, and it is Monday. It's the day after Redemption. We're just gonna kick it kind of real laid-back style today and just give our thoughts on what we saw. I am joined by Shane of Ethos Media and Pippin back
What
up.
up?
What up? What up? So, how are we all doing? How are you guys? Shane, how are you?
I'm doing great. I'm on top of the world.
Yeah. Pippin, you're doing some house rearrangement. Is that what I understand?
Yeah, we switched my office and the wife's office. So
Okay.
she moved upstairs, I moved downstairs.
Nice. Don't got to deal with them stairs anymore.
Yeah.
That is a plus. So yeah, fucking, the show fucking started an hour earlier yesterday and got over pretty much around the same time it usually does. So for me on the West Coast, like, it's never been a problem. It's like, yeah, it ended at 9 p.m. So like, whatever. But I definitely saw people chatting about that last night, is that some people thought it was a really long show.
So I missed the whole first hour because I thought it started at the regular time.
Oh,
so
sure.
I didn't even I missed Ospreay and Mox versus the Bucks and the ladder match, I think it was. Then there was like a ladder match or a multi-man. So I missed those two matches, but I got everything else. So
okay. All right. Well, I got plenty of notes, as you've seen. So once we get started proper, we'll go over every match that was had. And Shane, you said you watched with some people who just don't watch AEW don't watch AEW at all. They don't even watch wrestling. Right?
Yeah, don't watch wrestling at all. Like, so we had two friends over, and one of them has been around me and my brother for like 10 years at this point.
Mm-hmm.
So she watches. Like, she doesn't watch on her own or watch, like, she doesn't know what's going on, but she's familiar enough with it from just being around us and, seeing it when we watch or whatever. So she gets it. Her boyfriend, though, had never watched ever. Like, the most familiar he was with pro wrestling was, I think, the SmackDown video game on PS2, he said. He was like, and I used to play with Jeff Hardy because he did like crazy moves. That's it. That's the extent of his wrestling knowledge.
Okay.
Like, so, like, he didn't know who Bret Hart was. We were just naming guys, and he was like, who? And we were like, oh, okay, you know nothing. So,
wow.
So, yeah, it was interesting to get his perspective on watching it because it was just very different from the perspective of somebody who watches week to week, or, even somebody who's a wrestling fan who might be tuning into AEW for the first time. Like, this is somebody who is completely not familiar with anything about wrestling. Like, and he actually comes from an MMA background. So a lot of the shit he was looking at, he was like, why the fuck would they do like,
yeah, right. Right.
Like, he's like, oh my God, they're just landing like that. Like, oh my God, like they're going to be in pain for, so he was like giving it its props, like, for what they were putting their bodies through. But like, we had to baby step him through everything, so it was a very interesting experience for sure.
You're watching like athletic soap opera, and they do the shit because they can, it's like, yes, a drop kick is not a practical instrument of punishment infliction, but it exists to entertain, and
he was like, why do they all wear like the tiny trunks like that? And I was like, because they're whores, and this is the only time it's acceptable to basically be naked in public. That's why. Like, and he was like, that makes sense.
I mean, if I had a body like that I worked on as much as they work on theirs, like, I'd be like,
I'm looking for reasons to be naked in public for sure. I'm doing Andrade everywhere if I'm looking like that.
Totally. Kyle Fletcher hasn't worn a pair of trunks that actually fits him in a long time now.
Yeah.
He's showing full cheek at some point in every match, and more power to him. More power to him.
He does not need to stop anytime soon.
Yes. No, Pippin quite enjoying it. In fact, yes. By the way, Kyle's outfit last night was like, holy shit! Like that dude is just gender bending, like going all over the place with his look, and I love it.
He had the cunt turned up to 11 last night.
Yeah, he really did. He really did. He maximized the cunt. That is for sure. We got Blurry Line in the chat. And Blurry was a little, because Jobber Underground is the new brand, the new parent brand of the podcast, and we have a website coming out soon. Didn't called us sickos? Nearly said hi sickos, but that's not a thing anymore. So hi jobbers. I mean, look,
I'm still a
jobber,
sicko, baby.
We're still sickos. It's okay. I mean, we recognize that economically, we're all doing the job. You know what I mean? We're all looking at the lights every single day. We're all making somebody else look good, giving them the shine, if you will. But it's all right because we're sick fucks and we love it. And we love it,
Indeed.
and we do the job and we do it well. And then Kurt Jangle, nice enough, said job on that knob. So that's where that's gone already. Gary Parsiak's with us. What's up, buddy? I'm excited to give a reaction to the show because there was a really diverse array of opinions about this show, and it really seemed to depend on what platform you watched it on, and or like what platform you're on, like talking to people about the show, and it seemed like there was a bit of a consensus that this was not AEW's strongest show of the year, and I would agree with that. I don't think that's
a hot take.
No, I don't think that's a hot take at all. But the severity to which people go, that's not their best show, so that means it's a blank show. Like, that's what I want to explore today, because I just realized, like, seeing all this feedback today is like, there's a scale for these things. You know what I mean? There's AEW's scale, right? And then there's literally everyone else. Like,
yeah.
Compare last night to a Maple Leaf Pro show, and that's no disrespect to Maple Leaf, okay? But like a pay-per-view that you pay $20 to see, compare it to that and tell me that that's a bad show. Like, to AEW's normal standard, it didn't quite get there, right? But I was entertained by and large. I mean, there were some low moments, I thought.
AEW's worst pay-per-view is still better than like 90% of the other pay-per-views that you can go watch.
Yeah. So we got Tino in the chat. He said, dang,
that
you
was
came
basically,
in.
Sorry, I just wanted to comment on that too. I was going to say, like, I think I said that to somebody yesterday. Like, we've gotten A and A+ shows basically since like over a year now. If you really go back, like, I'm going back to Double or Nothing 2025, and every pay-per-view since then, maybe even before that, has been great. Every single one was an A or A+ show. It is impossible to keep that streak alive for that long. Like, it's just impossible. You're going to give us a B+ show every now and then, which was yesterday. B+ is still phenomenal. If you get a B+ in school, you're probably pretty happy, unless you got a 4.0 and that ruined it. But aside from you geniuses, for us normies, a B+ is phenomenal. So I'm good with a B+ show. You know what I mean?
Yes. So we got a bunch of people in the chat. Tino Ibarra's here. Kaylee's here. Kaylee.
Shout out KK. Make sure y'all follow her on Instagram.
Yeah. Knockout
put
Nails
your
by
order in
Kay.
for the nails.
Yeah, she just launched her business yesterday. So as I understand it, there's already orders coming in. I mean, very, very good stuff. Big ads.
Jobbers, and we put people over. So we're putting
That's
K
right.
over
We're
right
putting
now.
people over, baby. We're putting people over. That's the whole theme. See, you're already getting it. Antoine, you will never call me not a sicko. I got the merchandise to prove it. I'll take Jobber too. Hello, my fellow wonderful people. Yeah, that's right. That's right. Gary's asking, did the crowd seem really quiet last night? We'll get into that for sure. Okay. Let's start the show proper. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Shut Up Forever. It's actually the second time we've done this. It's where we combine the forces of Sit Down, Shut Up, Mark Out and Pro Wrestling Forever by not including anyone from that podcast besides me from both podcasts. And then we bring in Shane from Ethos Media. Shane, hello.
What up, though? What's up, everybody? My fellow sickos, how we doing?
And we bring in Pippin.
Hey, how you doing?
Pippin, it's been a while.
It has.
Good to have you back. And we talk about last night's AEW Redemption show. There is a lot of discussion going on about this show that's not the norm for AEW. There's some people with some kind of strong feelings. And we're not here to qualify your opinions, okay? They're opinions, right? Like, I can't tell you they're good or bad opinions. I can tell you whether I agree or not, right? Just like all of you. And so I want you guys in the chat to just say how you felt about the show as we go along. But we're going to start off. We're going to start this show by giving it a grade right now. We're not because, at the end we give it a grade. Like, fuck all that. Like, let's do this. So your first impression of the show, let's be uncontroversial. Pippin, go ahead.
We're doing a grade. I'd give this a B plus. It probably had the least amount of build for an AEW pay-per-view probably ever. Mm-hmm. But at the end of the day, like, it was still a good show. Like, it wasn't boring. Like, there weren't bad matches. I still had a great time watching it.
Mm-hmm.
But
Shane?
The stories,
sorry.
Yeah. No, just the stories going into it were not as strong as they usually are, and some of the matches didn't exactly feel like a pay-per-view match.
That's fair. Shane?
Objective quality of the show, B plus. I would say that's probably accurate. As far as how it made me feel, A plus.
I'm gonna go A minus on this one, and it's because I think there were just a few things for me that brought this one down a bit, but it's not like a company direction issue for me. No. Not for me. It's like there's a few very subjective elements to this show, and one I think we're all going to agree about. I have a potential hot take. I liked an outcome of a match while not liking the match itself very much. And
I think
there
we
was
all
one
agree
match
on that same match. I think I know exactly what you're talking about too, but we'll save it.
And there was another match that featured 4 guys I really like, and it just didn't click at all. It just really didn't come together the way I hoped it would. I think they were confused how to use the chains. But anyway, it was a little bit of a spoiler there. So I thought it was about what you could expect for the kind of build that we got, right? Like, Kurt Jangle and I were here on Friday making some previews and predictions and blah, blah, blah. I watched the countdown show after Collision, and I was like, God damn, that was a great countdown. Like, they really did tie a lot of threads together. I don't even usually watch the countdown because I'm like, they're going to show it during the pre-show. You know what I mean? And so there was, there's a difference between my guy didn't win and then I'm pissed, right? And this is bad. This is not good. Like, Bandito's my guy. He lost. I didn't like that. But that was the match of the night, like, in my opinion, like, it was incredible. So I thought the show was still pretty good. I apparently on Cage Match, it's like rated 6.5 right now, which is like, okay.
That's crazy.
I think what it is so it's like grading on a curve, right? So when you watch other promotions shows, the expectation is already not that high of what they're going to deliver in ring or the amount of wrestling you're going to get on the show, things like that. Like, so it's graded on a curve. AEW has set a standard that is so high when it comes to pay-per-view quality that anything less than that is going to get graded way harsher than it ultimately should, because the quality is so top-notch all the time. So it's like, It's almost like if you watch Jordan in the 90s, like he gets 30 a game. On a night he gets 22 points. That seems like a bad game.
People are like,
that's
what?
a bad
Is
game
Michael
for
sick?
Mike.
Yeah.
Right. That's just a bad game for Mike. That's a great night for anybody else in the league. You know?
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of how AEW is. It's like a 6.5 for AEW is really like an 8 for anybody else.
Yeah. When you've been eating filet mignon for months, ribeye feels like a downgrade.
Right.
Even if it's still a good steak. You know, so yep.
Exactly. It's you have to grade AEW on a curve, because I've said it before and I'll say it again. AEW is the greatest wrestling pay-per-view company of all time. It's not even close. It's absolutely insane the value you get for the dollars spent. And, you know, people are always going to pick at them. It's fine. And it's fine. You know, pick at the things you don't like. That's cool. But there's a sense of proportion that I felt was missing in the social media dialogue, where it's like, guys, it was still a good show. And it's okay for you to not like the show, even if you didn't like the show. But where else are you going to have a better experience? Show it to me, because I really have a hard time believing that, you know. Let's see what the chat's saying about where we're at so far. Antoine says, first, I thought the show was absolutely good just because there were matches where we knew the outcome. But when I go into a show with a ladder match to start, that's amazing. And Jericho's match didn't suck despite the build. I'd go A, feel, and results. The only thing that brings it down for me was honestly Kyle and Bandito. It didn't get going until halfway through. They definitely worked to work a longer match. That is for sure. So it did start slow, but once it got going, it got going. Bleary Line says, I don't know how to grade the show. B+ sounds fair. I'd probably better summarize it as unnecessary, but fun. I mean, I can go there. That's fair. Big Ad says 10 matches total, and they enjoyed 6 a lot. That's a B- on paper, though the story progressions bump it to B. Yeah. So I think we're kind of, you know, this crowd is generally in that same sphere. Shane, because you watched it with some people who've never watched wrestling really at all, like they didn't even know why people wear small, like teeny tiny trunks. What was their overall impression of this? Like, did they like it? Did they not like it?
They did enjoy it. So they definitely enjoyed it. And I think the things that they, like I said, it's really interesting. Like when we get into it, like when we get into the matches, I can kind of give you a little bit more detail on how they felt about each match, because I think that's going to be the most interesting dynamic. Because like it's just going to be very different than what we all thought. So, but like the main things that like because I came in during the tag match, so the Bang Bang Gang and the War Dogs. So I'm explaining the background story to them, you know, about the Bullet Club history with New Japan and all that stuff, and how they came over here, and I'm breaking all that down. And like, so the girl was really interested in the story aspect of it, but her boyfriend was just like trying to figure out how they were hitting each other with the chains and not causing welts. Like he was trying to figure out the mechanics of it, because he was like, they're really hitting each other and those are obviously real chains. Like you can hear them. He was like, but their bodies aren't welting up. How is this possible? Like, so he was like almost studying it from that aspect. So that was interesting to watch. So, but he was super entertained by that match too. Like he liked all the hardcore stuff. That's what I noticed with him being a brand new fan. He liked all the hardcore stuff. So,
okay. So he's there for like the spectacle. She's there more for the soap opera like aspect of
it. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so he's looking at it like it's a magic trick. How are they doing the magic trick? Like, because it is fascinating.
That's a good way to describe it. Yep.
Yeah, because it's fascinating. Like I'm watching these guys, the fist is connecting, but the guy doesn't have a bruise on his face. Like, how are they?
His jaw's not broken. He's like, because again, he comes from an MMA background. He's like, if I punch somebody like that, their jaw's broken. Like, how are they taking that many punch? Like, you know, he was that was a cool thing to try to see him figure it out.
Yeah, Beef Mordos is in the chat. Beef Mordos, by the way, you were a topic of conversation between myself and Kaylee yesterday because she accidentally calls Beast Mordos Beef Mordos now because of your name, and so I thought you would be pleased to hear that. But Beef Mordos says, agree on grading on a curve. It was a great show that feels like the calm before the storm that will be All In. Yeah, I think so, and I think the ending of the show was like Titanic, kind of in its evolution of a story that's been kind of playing out for quite a while now.
Yeah.
And I'm very eager to discuss that, but that was the last match. We'll get to it. All right. So we started with a 6-way ladder match, which is just an insane way to start a pay-per-view.
Sorry. Can we talk about the buy-in real quick?
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry. I just skipped right past it. Hey, Bex is in the chat. Hey, Bex, what's up?
Hey.
Bex, what up?
Our New Zealander, our favorite Kiwi. Welcome. Pippin, yes, let's talk about the buy-in real quick. I'm sorry.
No. That's because I think like that might have contributed to some people's like mixed feelings on the whole pay-per-view because it was a weird start. It was a whole lot more video packages than AEW usually does for a pay-per-view.
Mm-hmm.
I think we got like one match that was within the bounds of the buy-in, and hardly even any segments with Renee and Mick Foley. Like it just was a very weird way to start the experience.
Yeah, you're right. It was a really low key buy-in, which is just not the norm. You usually are going to have 2 or 3 matches. I think usually it's 3.
Yeah.
And a lot of times, there's a title defense, and I guess the conglomeration, they were defending the trios titles, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, it definitely felt a little more low key than they normally go. It was a lot more video packages. It was basically the countdown, and then people kind of reflecting after each segment on the countdown. And it wasn't bad, but yeah, it felt a little more like the old WWE pre-shows that you might get, where it's just a lot of talking about what they're expecting to see. And now here's one match before the show. One thing I did think they did well, though, is doing all the ladder entrances as the buy-in's ending.
Yeah.
Because it's like, you're still with me. Like, you're kind of keyed up. When you see Beast Mordos come out with his brand new super bling mask that he had on last night. Bedazzled as fuck. Looks so good. Yeah, it was cool. And so we didn't get the litany of matches. We had the Lethal Twist challenging the conglomeration for the trios titles. I like that all of a sudden there's kind of some momentum behind the trios division. I think that's pretty cool. I have zero faith that Tony will keep it up, because he does this where he like remembers that they exist and he's like, oh yeah, we should do more with this. Then he pushes real hard on it and then he forgets.
Yeah.
For months at a time. I love you, TK, but this division has not been your wheelhouse. But yeah, so we've recently had the Lethal Twist challenge. We had the Castle Runners, Castle Cock, whatever you want to call them. Running the Outcocks. I don't know, the Cock Runners on Collision. And now we're having the Demand challenge for the trios titles on Wednesday, and I think they might actually win them, which would be really cool. Yes, I'm sorry, Blairy. I got that wrong. That's the Cock Runners to me. So it's nice to see that there's a bit of a division. Like I've always said with the trios division, hey, if you got 3 guys who don't have a lot to do, put them in the trios division. Like have them like connect with 2 other singles guys who aren't really getting on TV very much. Have them wrestle on a random Collision or whatever, and that can get some momentum behind them and start building them towards something. And by the time that trio splits up, they have a little more momentum again. It's a great division for that purpose. So that was cool to see. Obviously, the conglomeration retained, and it was of course a fun match. It was always
Yeah.
going to be a fun match.
Like I have not been the lethal twist has not been like my favorite team, especially Blake Christian. Like I just haven't clicked with him yet, but he showed up in this match last night.
Yep. Well, and him and Bandito had a fantastic match at the last ROH event for the title. It was a singles match, and he really impressed me then. I like this kind of quasi white boy, fuck boy thing that he's got going on. But I just, he understands what pisses people off about him. But I think he's a guy who needs to be cutting promos to like connect the dots with his character. But when he calls himself Vanilla Baby and he comes out, you just don't like this guy. Like you're just like, fuck you, man. I don't even know why I'm saying this, but fuck you. Yeah. So, but it's good to see Jay Lethal, wrestling. He's still so good. Mark Davis is Dunkzilla, but the truth is, if you see Jay Lethal in person, that man's got quite an ass. I mean, it's just true. He's like part Ace Austin and part Mark Davis. He's got gigantic thighs and just a massive ass. And it's all muscle, but that's why the guy can still move the way he does. His legs are very, very strong. Okay, so we're ready to move into the main show?
Yeah.
All right. So Shane, you said before we got rolling that you missed the first two matches. So Pippin and I will kind of run through those real quick. Yeah. We start with a 6-way ladder match. And what a ladder match it was. I don't think any of us doubted that it would be a very good match. You had Jack Perry, who was clearly kind of pushed as the odds-on favorite, right? You had Speedball Mike Bailey in his hometown. Very, very cool. Very cool. Came out with the fleur-de-lis, looking just like on fucking fire. Like this guy was so excited.
I think he got the biggest, like his entrance got the biggest pop of the entire night.
Yeah, I'm sure it did. I think you're right. Like this crowd was amped. They always are at the very beginning of these shows. And I think we're going to get into a reason why the crowd might have seemed quiet at other times. Pretty quick here. So, you had that. You had Nick Wayne, who there is just something different about this guy all of a sudden. Like he just doesn't seem like
tournaments.
Yeah, the time in Japan is clearly working for him, but he does not seem like a kid.
No,
anymore, at all. Like this dude seems like he already had the wrestling part. You know what I mean? Of course, you can always improve, get better, blah blah blah. But he's put on some muscle. It's the television presentation of Nick Wayne that feels right now.
Yeah, like I was sad when he first showed up and Mother Wayne was not around. But
I'm always sad when Mother Wayne's not around, just to be clear.
But he doesn't need that anymore. Like he's got his own presence and aura, whatever you want to call it, around him now. He commands attention on his own.
Yeah.
Some of the bumps he took last night as well were just like, what the fuck? Then you had Commander, who guaranteed to do something absolutely batshit fucking crazy. He didn't do one thing. He did like 4 things that were just insane.
Yeah,
absolutely insane.
Everybody in this match, I feel like, was like, "Oh, hey, Darby's not on the show tonight. We've got to show up for Darby and do the things that Darby would normally do."
100%.
What would Darby do?
Yeah.
What? That should be in the Jobber Underground store, like a sticker, like WWDD. Like, what would Darby do?
And then don't do that.
Yeah, and then don't do that.
Yeah,
absolutely do not do that. Whatever Darby would do, don't do that. Yeah, and so then there was Beast Mordos was in the match, and I think there's one person I'm forgetting. I can't remember who the other person is. Anyway,
El Clone.
El Clone. Oh God, how can I forget El Clone? So fucking great. This thing that he does where he tears the mask at the eyes now, that shit freaks me out. I don't know what it is, but it added something else It added something else to his presentation. Big Ad says, WWDD, what would Darby do? Die, probably. Yeah. Yeah. Well, he wouldn't. You will. Yeah. Blair really likes the visor tear. It really added something to the character. I don't know what it is, but it feels like he's not quite a man. And that is the whole idea, right? These matches are impossible to describe. Really, really difficult to describe. But Jack Perry from the top of a ladder did a destroyer on Nick Wayne onto another ladder that was the bridge position. Yeah. And I really hope Jack didn't get hurt because you didn't see him for the rest of the match. But like he was holding his leg right afterwards. So I really hope he didn't like do anything too serious to himself and that he was able to walk it off. But holy fucking shit. That is crazy. That was crazy. And I guess, Pippin, we should just talk about the spot or two that really stood out to you, because describing these matches any other way is kind of impossible. You know?
Yeah. It felt like it took a little while for them to actually get the ladders into the match.
It did.
But once they did, like it was pedal to the metal from there. When they had the giant one up on top of the ramp that Speedball and somebody else, but Speedball climbed all the way up to the top too and jumped off into everybody from the top of this giant ladder.
Mm-hmm. Well, and they played with our expectations really well in this match. So, like, obviously the crowd wants Speedball to win. That's like no secret. Jack Perry got booed a few times, you know, like, and he was playing with the boos a little bit. Like he knew he was going to get booed. And he's the favorite in this match because, like, who else would challenge Kyle Fletcher or whoever's the international champion at the end of the night? Jack Perry seems like duh, like, you know, but then you realize they're in Montreal. It's like, okay, Jack Perry or Speedball. It's one of the two, you know, like couldn't see it being anybody else.
I thought Nick Wayne had a decent chance too.
He sure looked like he did by the end of this match. Like
yeah.
That kid took crazy fucking bumps. He did some awesome looking shit. This kid's on the rise. He should be wrestling for the TNT title. Like
100%.
Now. And he should be on TV every week. Now. So there are several different times where it looks like somebody is going to win this match, where everybody else is laid out, and they kept fucking with us over and over again. But there was a long period of time where everybody was trying to get in except Speedball. And he's out on the floor, just kind of chilling and, you know, playing injured or whatever. But it was, in fact, Speedball Mike Bailey who climbed the ladder, took the hanging clipboard.
Although I think I like the clipboard better than the brass Sonic ring.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. Unless you're gonna jump through the ring, then yeah. I would approve of that. But yeah, taking the clipboard, Speedball, you know, gets the clipboard and announces later on in the show that he's going to be challenging Kyle Fletcher at Grand Slam Mexico. So that's August 5th. That's a week from this Wednesday. So pretty cool match to be getting at Grand Slam Mexico. And these guys are 1-1 against each other. Speedball beat Kyle clean in the C2. So I'm excited to see that match. I think it'll be great.
Yeah. I think Mexico is a cool place to do it too.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Blearyline does mention the only other person that he's seen do the destroyer spot was Penta, and it looked like a crime then too. Well, you might remember that Penta did it to Dante Martin, and that was when his ankle didn't look like an ankle anymore. It looked like a hanging piece of flesh from his leg.
I remember watching
that's
that
how that
live.
happened.
That was disgusting. Like
that was so gross.
I remember instantly saying, like, my reaction was, oh shit, he broke his leg. That was my reaction to as soon as I was like, my brother goes, what? And then I was like, they're gonna show a replay, like, and then they showed the replay and you could clearly see it. I was like, yep, broken. Like,
yeah, his foot just dangling.
One of
Ugh.
those like
Ugh.
Mortal Kombat slow-mo X-rays where you see just everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
so gross. Oh my God. So
Yeah,
yeah,
that was rough.
this one didn't really connect to All In, but you know, you need to get people excited for the next month of television, you know. So I thought this one did that. It's a great way to start off a show.
Like way to like get everybody's energy up for the
Yeah.
show.
Yeah, and you give the Montreal crowd their hometown hero standing on the top of a ladder with a clipboard in his hand, you know, that you know he's getting an international title shot. God, it was a really cool way to start the show. So yeah, it sets up, you know, more to be developed for Kyle Fletcher and for Speedball. And we'll talk more about that after we talk about Kyle's match. And, you know, this is good for AEW to be spacing title programs instead of rushing every challenger onto a pay-per-view. The next match, in a lot of ways, might have been the most important match of the show, or at least second most important match, or well, maybe third. Take it all back. The Young Bucks faced Moxley and Will Ospreay. The Young Bucks don't know how to do anything good. They are not good. They are exceptional and great at everything. It's honestly kind of maddening how good they are. Like, I just watch them and I'm like, fuck you for being more talented at this thing than I'll ever be at anything that I ever attempt to do in this life. Fuck you. They're so fucking good. So the story of this match, you know, Ospreay comes out to the Death Riders music with Moxley through the crowd, but Ospreay's wearing his like super expensive, you know, robe thing.
United Empire stuff.
Yeah.
Was it
And,
this one or was it the other Death Riders match? But one of them, like the Death Riders entrance took forever. Like,
Yeah.
it started out like, wait a minute, where are these guys? The music's playing. We don't have the camera backstage like we usually do.
I think it was this match where it took a really long time. Yeah, it did. It did take a really long time. And at first I was like, if Ospreay's coming out after this, like, this is like, wow, this is going to be like a Roman Reigns entrance. Like, what the fuck? Because that motherfucker glides to the ring, but like, it's like he's like walking in slow motion. I don't even know how you walk that slow. I don't honestly understand how it's physically possible. But, you know, the basic crux of this match is that very early on, and I loved this element of it, is Nick and Will Ospreay go to duck at the same time, and they crack heads. And Nick's kind of selling like he might be a little concussed, you know, and Ospreay's like worn out, but he's like, he kind of gets it back together pretty quick. And Nick is selling the symptoms of something bigger for the entire rest of the match.
He had me legit worried for a little bit.
Asshole move, in my opinion. Like, real dick move for me to just be spending the rest of the night going, I really hope this guy's okay. And I knew that it had to be part of the match after a certain point, but it was like, for about 5 minutes, I was like, are they really just trying to gut this out? Or, because in story, that's what he was doing. He was gutting it out. Yeah. And once Nick hits his head, he's never the same in this match. He has a long period of time where he's just getting the shit kicked out of him.
Mm-hmm.
And then he has a long period of time where he can't help Matt. And Matt's getting the shit kicked out of him. The Moxley and Ospreay, in my opinion, were so giving to the Young Bucks in this match because they kicked out of goddamn everything. Nick, after taking this massive, you know, head trauma, theoretically, kicks out of everything. Like, I mean, they do Moxley fucking hits him with the Death Rider. He hits him with everything. And Moxley's like, no, we have to murder this man. We have to put him in the ground. And Ospreay at a certain point is like, dude, no, like, we're not here to kill the guy, you know? And they're clearly having a miscommunication, and it all ends up blowing up in Will Ospreay's face. He gets dumped out of the ring. And the Young Bucks, you know, they hit the EVP trigger or whatever they call it on Mox. And then Mox does the thing where he like gets up, powers up off his knees like fucking He-Man, but he does the double middle fingers, which is like the meme of the night. And then the Young Bucks do the super kick party on him and just pin him. And one, you never see Mox get pinned anymore. Like,
especially not on a pay-per-view.
Yeah. And then two, this is Will Ospreay trying to be the good guy and it blows up in his face, right? And Mox is clearly irate at Will, you know. So later they have a meeting of the minds backstage, and Mox is furious at Will.
I saw that. That. So I was able to basically pick up on what happened in the match from that. Mm-hmm. Like basically, because they did a relatively good job of explaining it. They were like, oh, okay. Like I didn't know exactly what happened, but it did play into Nick somehow had his head hurt. Ospreay didn't want to pull the trigger. Moxley wanted him to conflict. I was like, okay. So I missed the match, but I was able to very quickly catch up on the story. So.
And what I find very amusing about Jon Moxley is because his voice is like, it sounds like its razor blades have been dragged through acid and then swallowed. You can't always understand him when he gets too angry. And so like, he's like, I'll do it. And then he just walks off. And basically he said to Will, like, if you won't do it, I'm going to do it. I will handle this. And we don't know what that means until the very end of the night. And this story gets even better. So let's see what the chat thought real quick. Beef Mordo said, I totally bit on the headbutt early in the match. Thought Nick was legit out of it. He did a great acting job. I mean, it was really, really good. Blair Line says it didn't hit the same heights, but this match really reminded me of the Bucks versus Kenny and Hangman. Yeah, it did have some of that same vibe. Antoine said, not how I expected it to be. Nick selling after getting really clocked for real was excellent. This was the story of a tag team better than two individual behemoths, one intent on destroying them. Tino says, did they get lost for a second during the entrance? I swear it felt like Spinal Tap for a second. I think maybe Will or Mox wasn't ready to walk out when they hit the music. And somebody was like running in from the back and then had to make it look like they weren't running. Antoine says, and Mox had a point, and we only saw more of what his point was by the end of this night. Big Dad's Will's robe had total Shredder vibes, and Mox denying that being showcased was his most heel move ever. Blurry Line says his head's so high up, the air's thinner, so he has to take it slower or he passes out. Being from Raynham, Will is immune to brain injuries. Bex the Destroyer. Nick is just so good at selling. Yes. Blurry Line says Rick Knox maybe put in one of the worst referee performances that didn't result in an actual botch this match. I love that Rick's gimmick is that he's a terrible referee. Like
they've even started playing into that on commentary. I noticed, like, who was it? I think it was Jeff Jarrett on Collision. He was like, well, not all referees are built the same or something like that. He said, and I busted out laughing. I was like, so this is a thing, like even within AEW, like they acknowledge it. Like, yeah, Rick sucks, but he's old. What are you going to do?
Confusion in the chat. Thank you, buddy. Thanks for being with us. Probably one of the best sells ever. It really was. It really was.
This is like Brian Danielson or Daniel Bryan. Like level selling.
That fucker. Oh, I'm still mad at him for some of that shit. You could tell. So the Young Bucks get a huge fucking win. Absolutely gigantic win. And, I felt like they had to win because they're going to be built up for All In, right? Mm-hmm. Mox and Ospreay aren't going to be tag teaming a bunch, and so there was only one right answer here. And then thankfully they picked it. And so, there's problems between Mox and Will, and obviously they got to put the foot on the gas if they're going to roll with that, The next match was Kyle Fletcher versus Bandito. This could be a match of the year candidate in so many ways. And I wish it was never booked because, like, I would give this match 6 stars. It was that good. Like, by the end, it had reached like really an epic peak. They gave him 25 minutes, you know. Bandito did shit that was so crazy in this match. He did a fucking 21 Snapdragon suplex. Like, how the fuck do you do that? Like, what? Like, what? That's wild. Bandito's 5'10" at most. Kyle Fletcher is 6'4". Legit.
Huge.
He press slammed him. Like, what? He hit a fucking frog splash from the top turnbuckle to Kyle Fletcher laying on the outside of the ring. And the camera was perfect because it was right on Fletcher. So you know how a frog splash works. The guy's toes kind of touch the mat before he actually lands. So it takes off a lot of the impact. But the way they filmed this, you couldn't see Bandito's feet, and he bounced off Fletcher. I mean, it looked god-awful.
That was one of the moments that stood out to the people we were watching with yesterday. That was definitely one of the standout. He was like, holy shit. Like, that's when he started going, why would they do this to themselves? Like, why? Like,
yeah.
And
I was like,
Bandito went
man.
to superhuman level for this match.
And you know, he took a brain buster on the mat on the outside of the ring, the hardest part of the ring, and I couldn't see through it. I was like, did he actually just land on his fucking head? Like, that looked really bad. But nope, he was just selling. These guys are masters at what they're doing. Kyle Fletcher, if he was world champion literally tomorrow, no surprise.
I don't
like
think
no
anybody
surprise.
would be upset. Yeah.
No. Every time I've been at a live show, Kyle Fletcher shit is flying off the fucking shelves. This guy, people love him. I mean, he's got a really dedicated fan base. The only issue I had with any of this, I knew Bandito couldn't win this, but he is the Ring of Honor Men's World Heavyweight Champion. He lost to Andrade at Revolution, who's now the national champion. He lost to Kyle here. He lost to Swerve, who can't beat Will Ospreay. He lost to a bunch of people who aren't even the top guys in AEW. So what does this make Bandito? If he is what does it make Ring of Honor, I guess, is the better question. If he can't even beat the secondary champions.
And I think he hasn't been defending the Ring of Honor championship that much, right?
Nope. He's not really on the show very much. You know, he's
I
always
think that's
on
the issue. That's the bigger issue, is that Ring of Honor, he should drop that belt if he's going to be a AEW full-timer, basically. Like, which is fine, like, because we love Bandito. Bring him up. Like, you know, because Ring of Honor, for the lack of, you know, it's not a direct comparison, but it is basically their NXT. Like, basically, like, functionally, that's kind of what it is. It's for the newer people, and then for people that aren't utilized on AEW that much. It's like, well, we got stuff for you to do over here so you can keep your skills up or whatever. Right. So, like, okay, he's kind of elevated from there. He's graduated from that, in my opinion. So bring him up full time, but just have him drop the belt to somebody. Like, you know what I mean?
I knew Antoine was going to be the guy to say this. Very much believes ROH is not NXT. I don't think it's viewed as a developmental program as much, but it is.
I don't think so either. And that's not what I meant by that. Like, I don't view it in the same as like I mean, like NXT Gold, the Black and Gold era, when it was considered a third brand and not the developmental. That's what I view ROH as.
Yeah, and ROH is great. I just think you like Tony needs to make some decisions with ROH. Like, what is ROH going to be from here going forward? Is it a super indie where you like bring in people from all over the world and they wrestle, you know, people from Stardom, people from CMLL, people from Japan, you know, all that stuff that they've done a lot of, which I've loved, and it's been great. I think, though, that if Bandito, and this is where he's different than Athena. Athena is very rarely on AEW television. And I don't understand that at all. But she's not. If you want to see Athena, you got to go watch ROH, right?
Mm-hmm.
Bandito is not treated that way at all. He's on TV all the time. Like, he has a singles match at every pay-per-view. I know Tony Khan feels very, very highly of the work he does, you know. MJF made a point to say after they wrestled, Bandito will be a world champion in AEW, right? So I know Tony has a long-term vision that Bandito will eventually be at this elevated tier. But I worry at this point that Bandito's lost so much recently that unless you start having him rattle off some wins, you really risk damaging the perception of him, you know?
Yeah, no, he definitely needs a couple wins under his belt, whether it's on pay-per-view, whether it's on ROH, you know, weekly, where you're defending his belt. But he needs, like, he's always going to be like an insanely good wrestler, but to keep up his reputation, he's got to get some wins under his belt.
Mm-hmm. He does, and to be held in why is he even getting singles titles or singles pay-per-view matches at this point? He always loses, you know. He lost to Swerve, who lost every other big match he's had this year, except for one against Kenny, you know. And Swerve's basically been a part-timer, you know. And I'm not saying anything bad about Swerve. Swerve's my dude. I love Swerve. But Bandito, to me, is the most fun person to watch in AEW in the men's side by far.
Yeah.
Because he's like Kenny Omega in 2016 right now, where his body will let him do crazy shit. Don't do it 2 years from now. Like, it won't be the same. You only get this peak for a very short period of time. Like, you got to pull the trigger with Bandito. I'm not saying make him the world champion tomorrow, but like, edge him that direction immediately. Like,
that's the that's the gift and the curse of having such a brilliant roster, though.
Yeah,
yes, Bandito is phenomenal, and I agree with literally everything you just said about him. I have nothing bad to say about Bandito, but you do have a Swerve who you want to have in that title picture pretty much always. You do have a Will Ospreay who you're going to have in that title picture pretty much always. You have, you know, an Okada who is eventually going to get in that world title picture at a certain point. You have Kyle Fletcher who inevitably is going to be in that world title picture. You have so many guys who are going to be, who should at some point become world champions, that you always are going to run that risk of waiting too long on one person to pull the trigger on somebody else. So like Absolutely. They might pull the trigger on Kyle Fletcher and that might leave Bandito behind because you can only have one world champion at a time. Or, you know, throw any other names out there that we could see as being, you know, Kevin Knight, you know what I mean? He showed yesterday, I think he belongs, you know what I mean? Not necessarily in the world title picture right now, but easily within a year, you could see that. You know what I mean? So it's like there's so many of those guys and girls, which we're going to get to, you know, at some point. But since we're specifically speaking about the men's or genderless world title, whichever, you know, then, yeah, you know what I mean? There's only so many people that can realistically vie for that spot at any given time. And people get older every day. So you're always going to have that risk of somebody being left behind just because there's so much talent. So it's a gift and a curse because it's like you're blessed with all this talent, but everybody can't be the top person.
That's true. That's absolutely true. And you make a very good point. You know, I think you look at the guys like Kenny and Joe and those guys, they're at the tail end, right? Like Kenny said many times, this may be his last title reign, you know? And it might be, you know, it might be, but look at who's behind him. You know, what's the ceiling on a guy like Andrade? What's the ceiling on a guy like Jay White, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
exactly.
You got so many people. And some of them are not going to be the world champion. And for me
Right.
personally, it's not really even about whether Bandito becomes the world champion. I just want him. I don't want him to be a super jobber. You know what I mean? Like that's not right. This guy could be one of the biggest baby faces who has the most crossover appeal that is on your entire roster, whether he's ever champion. You know, he's like part Orange Cassidy with the charisma, but the wrestling ability of Kenny Omega. You know what I mean? It's like,
yeah.
And raw athleticism of Kenny Omega or Will, you know? You got
one thing I noticed with TK though is he does sort of do it seems like with a lot of the people who do eventually become those main event world title contenders, he sort of does a break you down to build you up type of booking with almost all of them. Like really MJF is sort of the exception to that. If you think about it, because he wins the majority of his matches and then he wins world titles. Like that's how he operates. But for the most part, like a lot of people will take a lot of losses and then all of a sudden they'll have like a comeback arc before they, like Leo Rush is a good example of that. He was losing so much on AEW every week. And then all of a sudden now he's the Ring of Honor, the pure champion, or not the pure champion.
Television.
Which one? Television. Yeah. That seemingly came out of nowhere, but he's been winning lately also. He's been winning his matches. So it's like, you know, and we're not like down on Leo all of a sudden. We're not like, oh, Leo's been losing too much. It's not going to work now. Like, we're all happy he's the champion. So I think Bandito is good enough and his matches are good enough to where even in his losses, like he still maintains such a good performance on each of them that he could still realistically win any of those titles at any given time. And it won't feel like it's coming out of nowhere. I don't think.
Here's the thing. Tony Khan can have Bandito lose as much as he wants because what's eventually going to happen is the fans are going to get pissed off. They already are. Like, I saw this said a bunch of times, and that's good for Bandito if they do. You know what I mean? Like, we are sick of this shit. Push this motherfucker. You know what I mean? Like, it's time. But you know, he does have the Ring of Honor world title. I think that title is a valuable title in a certain sense, but I don't think it's valuable for Bandito. Just like, honestly, I don't think Athena being the women's world champion means anything anymore either. Like, it doesn't mean anything for her. It means something for whoever takes it from her.
Yes.
And like, otherwise her career is pretty much like, she's already hit all the peaks she's going to hit in ROH, you know? And I don't know what her personal driving force is. If she likes being in Ring of Honor, as some people have speculated, I really don't know. You know, she's been a team player and said that, but who knows what she really wants behind the scenes. But, you know, that's another person with the clock ticking on their prime. So that's the thing when you have a roster this fat with amazing talent is somebody's going to get disappointed by some of the decisions you make. That's just the way it is. Great point, Shane. Great point. What did your friends think of this one?
Of
Bandito and Kyle.
They that was actually the and that was the match where he actually asked me, why do they wear their trunks so tight? Like, what's that about? And this is before I knew he was an MMA fighter. So I was like, well, it's kind of like, you know, sometimes in the MMA world, you know, they'll wear like the small trunks, you know, for movement or whatever. It's supposed to be, you know, a combat sport. So it's, you know, playing off of that kind of thing. And then he was like, I do MMA. My shorts are never that tight. I was like, oh. Well, also, it's because they're, and then I was like, because they're whores.
Yeah, they're whores. I mean, they're whores.
And then he was like, oh, well, yeah, that makes sense, blah, 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 you know, so.
Yeah.
But no, he enjoyed the match also. Like, again, some of those, like the frog splash spot, that was the main one where he was just like, and then I think they did, it was a power bomb spot to the outside where Bandito had flipped over the rope and Kyle was like trying to hold on. And then Bandito eventually carried him off. He thought that was funny because he was like, so how long is that dude's crotch just going to be in his face like that? And I was like, hey, man.
It's wrestling, bro. Crotches are in faces.
That's what I told him. I was like, also, another thing about wrestling, you kind of have to accept it's a little gay. And you just got to roll with it.
Yeah. You say it's a little gay to people who it might bother if it's gay, but if you're telling the truth, you're like, it's very, very gay.
It's
like,
gay. Yeah, it's gay as fuck.
yeah, exactly.
It's a very, very gay thing.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense too. I was like, yeah. Oily dudes that I'm watching in tighty whities, of course, it's a little gay. But no, so he caught the power bomb spot because he thought that was weird at first, but then when the power bomb happened, he snapped out. He was like, "Oh shit! Like, how did he just land on his back like that? And how is he alive still?" And then the frog splash spot. So he was like, sort of again, like you said. I think that was the best way to describe it was he was trying to figure out how the magician does his tricks. So whenever he saw like a crazy spot like that, he would be like, "How in the fuck did they just pull that off?" Like,
and not kill each other.
That's crazy. So yeah. So that was mainly his perspective on that match, because that whenever they're doing the crazy athletic shit, I told him that he would really like that match because if he liked playing as Jeff Hardy on the video games, I was like, this will be a very video gamey match. He was like, "Oh, okay, sweet." So and it was. They delivered.
Antoine says, but he's hurting Ring of Honor. Is starting to get talked about at the tapings. His hole is gaping that he is creating. And did Homie ever have the surgery he was supposed to have after the Hechicero match? No, he definitely didn't have any surgery. He did take some time off. Bandito doesn't book himself. Like, Tony's hurting Ring of Honor. Like, it's not like Bandito doesn't care enough to show up. It's like he's not booked. So it's
no. I think that's what he was saying. I think he's saying Tony is hurting. Ring of Honor.
Yeah. Like, but I get what you mean. Like, not having the champion there, and this has been a pattern with Eddie, with Mark Briscoe.
Jericho,
with a lot of the
Jericho,
Claudio, even to a certain degree. They were still on AEW TV and not so much on the weekly ROH stuff. And I agree. I think an occasional title defense on television would do the product a lot of good.
Absolutely.
And Blurry Line, perhaps a controversial statement, but Tony is booking Bandito like Vince booked Ray.
With the world title? With the world heavyweight title?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's probably a good comparison.
That's kind of fair. Like, honestly, it's kind of fair. I mean, Ray got demolished a lot more than Bandito does, but like,
yeah, Bandito's competitive at least. Like, in every match,
Bandito looks like
he could win.
Yeah,
he doesn't.
But yeah, Antoine, if we're saying Tony's hurting Ring of Honor, I mean, yeah, I think that's absolutely true. Athena not being on AEW more is criminal, Bex says, and yeah.
So Bexter addressed that. I think Antoine actually he commented this also. If you can find it, Blade. But he said that Athena actually said that. Like, that's not speculated. That came from her directly. So yeah, there we go. So if she said it, then that's got to be what it is, right?
Yeah,
she just wants to be on ROH.
She just wants to. I mean, realistically, that's fair because then you can just live in Florida and you don't have to worry about traveling and being somewhere all the fucking time. Like, that's got to be super nerd. Like, I think about that a lot as a fan. I'm like, they travel so much. Like, holy shit, they're never home. Like, you know what I mean? So I'm like, if you stay in Florida full time, like, and wrestle there, that makes a lot of sense.
Either way, just drop the title though. You know what I mean? Like, if you're going to be an ROH, like, have a story without the belt. Like, what's the belt doing for Athena at this point? Like, it's not boosting her. And she can't boost it any more than she already has. You know, I mean,
totally agree.
So, yeah. Antoine wanted to know who's with him. We're with you, Antoine. We are with you, sir. Blurry Line, I 100% can see the jumping from Junior's Kenny comparison. Yeah. Bandito, while he was injured, when he was out for like 18 months, put on a shitload of mass, like a shitload of muscle.
Extra swole.
Dr. Fusion agrees he deserves more. Beef Mortis makes an interesting point. The great thing about AEW is the guy who loses too much can get reheated in the Continental Classic. Put him in the Continental Classic and have him win it. Have him win it.
C2, the Owen, like either of those, like they do have things, you know, to immediately heat you back up. The Dynamite Diamond Ring, he can win one of those. Like, there's a lot of ways. So, yeah, I'm not concerned. Not yet, but I hear y'all. I do hear y'all.
Yeah. Yep. All right. Love this lively ass chat. Love it. Okay.
Yeah, shout out to y'all.
Next match The Dogs versus the Bang Bang Gang in a chain match. I don't think these guys knew how to have a chain match.
No.
It looks several times
I
like
just
they
want
got
to jump
caught
in
up.
real quick here because this is going to be one of those big differences between the newbies and us.
Okay.
So because we have experiences with dog collar matches and with other various stipulation matches, I think we had an expectation going in. Them having no expectation whatsoever, they really enjoyed that match. So the chain match worked for them as complete novices, never have watching wrestling before. They liked it. So just want to throw that out there. They had a completely opposite opinion of most of us.
I think that's
my friends were with you, Tino.
yeah. It just look, it just didn't click for whatever reason. And I like all four of these guys a lot. I'm a huge Jay White fan. I'm a dog supporter. Okay.
Me too.
When no one else will, I support the dogs. I like Gabe Kidd. People hate Gabe Kidd, and I get it why they hate Gabe Kidd. Okay.
You're supposed to hate Gabe Kidd.
Yeah, and he does a really good job of making it super easy. But I felt like this was kind of a big stipulation to take so early in a feud. Like they haven't had a regular singles match. They haven't had a regular tag match against each other. Why are we doing chains? You know, the chains just didn't really seem that necessary to me, I guess.
Go
ahead, Pippin.
Yeah, this had me questioning. Like I think you talked about it in our group chat. Like, is this a no blood city or arena? Because this is it's a chain match. Kind of like a dog color match, and there was no color for the whole thing. Like, very weird.
It seems like they were really saving that for I mean, and who can blame them? The greatest gimmick of all time. Painmaker. So they yes. I just felt like them getting caught up in the chains a lot kind of took away from the dynamic a little bit. I felt like they didn't need to be in a chain match. Like, remember FTR versus Jay and Juice from like the second episode of Collision? And it's still one of my favorite tag matches I've ever seen. And it went for like an hour. It was a best 2 out of 3 falls match. And it went like 58 minutes. Yeah. And it was a fucking masterpiece. Like, Jay White doesn't need to be in a chain match. Juice Robinson doesn't need to be in a chain match. It just, and Antoine in all caps seemed like an unnecessary fast forward with getting to Jay versus Finlay. I thought this match would set up for that, but now I don't know what. The dogs can't just lose every match, right? And we had talked about that. Kurt Jangle and I had talked about that on Friday before. Like, the dogs lose a lot. And my thought was, I thought the Bang Bang Gang would win for the sake of the dogs waiting for Gabe to come back before they hit play again, on them. They're kind of on pause right now. And so they're just there for entertainment value until Gabe's back. And clearly they felt the need to give them a win. Which is fine. It made
sense in the way they did it, though, to me, because the affiliation with the Death Riders has always been there. So numbers game. There's more Death Riders and War Dogs than there are Bang Bang Gang members. It makes sense. It's logical to me.
Blair Lens also
Jay look bad. That fit made Jay look bad. But
Jesus Christ, Jay, what are we doing? What are we doing, pal? You show up just wearing generic ass white joggers, no blood ever in the whole match, okay? And the cognac cowboy boots. Like, what? Jay, buddy, I love you, man. You're my guy. You're like one of the tippity top. But that's not tippity top, man. Got to do something about that.
Looked like pirate skinnies
back.
We gotta bring the skinnies back. That's what I'm saying. I wouldn't say that Jay doesn't need to be in a chain match. Respectfully, Bex. Oh, Bex kind of likes Seeing Jay wrapped up in chains. Okay, fair enough. Little kinky over there. Yeah, it's not a good look, Jay. The Lululemon look for Jay White is just not really hitting for me. And so that's fine. We need the switchblade pants. We need just the switchblade look. In wrestling, your look is a huge part of what you do. And the big baggy pants aren't doing it for me with Jay. Jay White has absolutely no idea how to dress like a baby face.
What was his injury?
I mean,
It was
somebody had brought that up.
Was it a knee
What's that?
injury or something related to his leg?
No, it was he broke his hand and he had to have shoulder surgery. So
okay.
At least it was explained that he had shoulder surgery, which that's why he was out so long, I'm sure.
Okay.
But that he had a variety of injuries.
Because I was wondering, because Ray did that back in the day. He was wearing the baggy pants because he had to wear that knee brace for a while.
Yeah,
so I was wondering if maybe it was something like that.
On. Yeah. Benny the Bear makes a great point. Hey, all, if anything, it probably should have been a shillelagh on a pole match. Honestly, I would have been for it, to be honest with you. Face Jay White looks like a high-end Manhattan yoga instructor.
I was thinking he was like one of those gurus, like one of those spiritual gurus.
He does. Yeah. He looks like what? Okay, so Jay White has always felt like a pirate to me. I've just always felt like he has big, like, Captain Jack Sparrow vibes to me. But like edgier, actually cool. And him as a pirate who's now a yoga instructor is just not quite hitting for me. So I think that's where we're running into some trouble. Antoine says it was mostly the massive shoulder injury. I've had that. It'll take a year. Yeah, exactly. And I think he's still getting back into ring shape. Maybe he feels self-conscious about something. Maybe his legs aren't as big as he wants them to be. I don't know. But I don't think he had a knee injury. I don't think it was anything like that. Antoine adds, Jay White was dressed like he was going to teach a yoga class on an exclusive island. Yeah, he looks like a guy who's going to teach a yoga class and then abscond with all the money he just stole from everybody on a helicopter to a private, like undisclosed location,
But like not, like it's an island that like you can be on though, you know what I mean?
Yeah. It's not an Epstein Island or something, we're not talking like that.
Teach the yoga class on Fire Fest.
Larry Line says Jay White is like 3 sentences away from telling you to steam a crystal in your hoo-ha.
Yes,
he does appear that way. Bax says the cowboy boots really confused her. Bax, I'm with you.
Yeah.
Big Dad says you're all dopes. He wore the white pants because he's Jay White. Duh. If we're dressing color coded because of last names now, I'm very scared. Benny the Bear says it feels like Switch is going for a samurai look, but it's giving more Star Trek 4. Nice. Okay, so the Dogs win. This was a low point. The crowd was absolutely dead for this match. The first 3 matches reached such high highs. They're gonna come down at some point. And the crowd has to conserve their energy at some point too. They were really loud for the main event. They were really loud at other times, but they were quiet as hell for this match. But the Dogs get a win on pay-per-view. That's fine. Really didn't like David Finlay almost dropping Jay White on the top of his head and breaking his neck. Did not like that. What was the move that he was doing? Was it like a dominator, like a Farouk dominator kind of thing? And Jay, his head kind of smacked. It was his forehead kind of scraped the canvas or something. But like if he hadn't rotated his head anymore, he would have landed on the top of his head.
Damn.
And I think they even like brought that up on commentary.
They did. No, they did, because it was so obvious. Like it was scary looking. The ref was like, dude, are you okay? I think Jay White was even like, am I okay? Like, I don't know. Like it took a second for him to figure out like if he was all right. So, he's never, maybe his gear got lost. Larry Line, he doesn't pull off those bottoms like Takeshita. Maybe that's what he's trying to do. Maybe Jay's like, hey,
I'm sure that's what it is. I'm sure it's that same style. I think that's
I spent a lot of time. Yeah, he's not. I can wear the
He's not
samurai
doing it
jammies.
right.
Come on, give him. Let me try. Blair line, Finley always tries the Dominator, and he's not big enough to hit the move. Maybe that's what it is. Like, that's a Lashley move. Fair enough. Maybe he's just not tall enough to do it safely. But yeah, Jay landed bad. That was scary. Next match, Maya World and Hikaru Shida. And Shane, floor is yours.
So, I have a couple of thoughts about this match, actually, and some might be controversial. I don't believe that this initial thought is going to be controversial. I think this is kind of the consensus that the outcome was better than the actual match itself. So the match seemed kind of clunky, didn't really seem like they clicked very much. And here's the controversial part. I don't think that's Maya World's fault. Shida, to me, has not been the same Shida that she was pre her break. Like, she was gone from AEW for a while, not really on TV. She'd make an appearance here and there. But like before that, when she was consistently on TV, I don't know. It seemed like she was better. Like, than she is now. Like, I don't know what the difference is, but it seems like there's a disconnect. And it's not just in the Maya World match. I've kind of had this feeling for a few weeks watching Shida's matches. I'm like, and I know how much our homies love Shida, so I've kind of been quiet on it, you know what I mean? But in my opinion, she hasn't been very good. So I'm just like, you know, that was part of the reason I wanted Maya World to take the belt off her, because Maya's been shining and all of her matches have been really good. So I'm really like, good. She's match ready to carry a belt. That's number one. And then number two, just the climate of the country. Like, it feels very good to see a company that consistently books black people in a very good way. You know, it's not a fashion thing or a backlash thing because the internet has been calling the head booker racist for 2 years. Mm-hmm. And so now finally, all of a sudden, he's like, okay, let me get some black people on TV to shut everybody up. It's not that. It's a legitimate, these are the people that, you know, are stars and the fans accept as stars. And you know what I mean? Like, and that's a different thing, especially in today's climate. It's very important. That representation is super important to me. So Maya World winning, and given her whole story, like, I was just really, really, really proud of what, you know, what her career has turned into so far, because it's all sort of an accident if you really think about it. None of this happens if Tegan Knox and Miranda Alizé don't do what they did. You know what I mean? Maybe it does some kind of other way, but I don't really see the path. So the fact that all of this sort of happened by accident is even more incredible to me. And, you know, I'm just really happy to see where she goes, you know? So, I mean, on top of Shida, just, I don't know, something seems off in her performances, at least to me. And then with Maya being on fire and her representing, I loved it, you know, even though the match wasn't great. I love the result, and I think that overpowers the match itself. So,
Pippin, what about you?
Yeah, I mean, I can see that with Shida. Like, I think her character work and her mic skills have greatly improved on her return.
Yes, I do agree with that. Yes,
but yeah, in the ring, there's something missing. It doesn't feel as on fire as it was before she left. And I don't know if it's like extended ring rust, or because she was gone for over a year.
Mm-hmm. Well, and she only wrestles on TV, basically, you know?
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, it takes a while to get back in shape when that's your norm. But I don't know. I hadn't felt that way about Shida personally, but because like I thought her match with Aminata was really solid. I thought her match with I think she's been trying a different style, frankly, of just being more of like contempt. Like, she has contempt for her challengers, you know, and so she's just not flashy anymore. Like,
but I mean, like even the moves themselves, like don't even like when she used to do that spinning knee, it used to look impactful. Like, oh shit, she just needs somebody's jawline off. It's like now she's missing the move. She's like connecting on the shoulder, and the other wrestlers like having to sell extra because she's not. It's like not as crisp either. You know what I mean? Like I think that's what I'm more noticing.
I mean, fair enough. I mean, I just I hadn't really noticed that myself, but I mean, there's clearly some people in the chat who agree, and that's worth pointing out. Blurry says Sheeta's wrestling this character where she's like a bitter vet who's bullying the young talent. Yeah, I see that, but you know, Antoine says this is a beautiful watershed moment. I was rooting for Sheeta as my pick, but Maya as maybe. She is so young. Sheeta carried the match with her strong style, I think, and are taking this match again. Big Ad, stoked Maya won this. She's riding high, though. The short reign for Sheeta ending on a not great match was glaring. Hopefully, Sheeta has more heat coming. Blurry Line says, and it feels like, I think he's talking about Sheeta, like she's kind of ragdolling her opponents, not working with them so much. I think, honestly, Maya as a worker has been a little hit or miss for me. And like that's to be expected, kind of like where she's at in her career. Like she's had even the match with Mercedes, even though it was super good, it was a great match. Like it's not like Maya's like perfectly fluid in everything that she does. You know what I mean? No. Like, and I wouldn't expect her to be. And so this match to me felt like there was a communication issue going on somewhere or something where it was like, do you guys just not have good chemistry? I didn't know whose
that happens sometimes
deal it was. But it just, yeah. And the fans again kind of died for this match.
Yeah.
And I could understand why. The work wasn't really solid. It wasn't fluid. There was just a lot of like, I don't know. It just felt kind of like slow. Like some of the execution was too slow to make the moves look believable. Maybe it is Sheeta. Maybe she is not in the best shape right now. Like, I don't know. But like, you know, I think in other matches, like with Aminata, I thought she looked good. I'm trying to remember who else she defended.
I think Bleary's point is correct. In the matches where her and her opponent are just walloping each other, those matches are always really good.
Yeah. Maybe that's what it is. Yeah, maybe I just didn't notice.
Like, coordinated movements that have to take place. It seems like those are the ones that kind of come off more choppy.
Antoine says she's taking it easy. I feel, I don't know, she could go harder. Yeah. And I think, you know, this one really threw me because I thought it was written in the stars that Maya was going to be the one to beat Athena. And I just don't see how you do that now, you know? But the story, the story's right there, you know, like, so for me, I was like, you know, Beef Mordos had suggested on Friday, and I thought he was right that Athena would end up costing Maya the match. So yeah, I basically am exactly the same here. Beef Mortis says, I also thought that Athena would end up costing Maya the match, so I wasn't emotionally or mentally prepared for the title change. It was only when Sheeta wouldn't pin her or like wouldn't, you know, like let her submit or whatever, like that I was like, oh, Maya's gonna win. Like, you know, like Sheeta's hubris is gonna be her downfall. You know what I mean? I did like though Sheeta throwing a fit with the kendo stick and having to be like secure. There's like 15 guys like escorting her to the back. I thought that was a nice touch. That was a nice touch. I love Maya World. Like, I think she's great. I think that she's got so much potential. Julia Hart got the trigger pulled on her as the TBS champion. She was not as good as Maya is now when that happened. No. So like Maya is absolutely worthy of this and deserving of it. I do want to see more with people like Queen Aminata. I do want to see more with people like that. I want to see Maya defend this title a lot. I think the TBS title should be the workhorse belt. You know what I mean?
Both of the TV titles should be that way. Like they should be on TV almost every week.
They should be like the old TV titles. I mean, they're even named after fucking networks. Like, come on, they're the TV titles. Like, you know, like, come on. Pablo in the chat, first time chatter, I believe. I feel like Sheeta's transitioning to streaming full time going forward. She's mentioned retiring in the past. Maybe, she's seemed really into her character work and stuff, though. It's like if she was kind of like half-assing this, like, I think that's the hardest thing for me to believe. That's the hardest part for me is like she put so much into the character work that I thought this was going to be like more of a run. And so my hope is that she's just not going to fade to the background. My hope is maybe she takes a week off and goes to conspire and figure out how to get on top again, But there's any number of directions they could go. I just don't want Sheeta to disappear. She does definitely have a soft spot in my heart as somebody who was the highlight of the women's division for a really long time.
Oh, yeah.
And so, I think there's a pre-Tony Storm era and the post-Tony Storm era. And Sheeta was the face of the pre-Tony Storm era.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's an excellent way to put it. And I think, strictly speaking, in-ring work-wise, not character-wise, because I agree with everybody that character-wise is the best work she's doing in AEW. But in-ring-wise, I think the pre-Tony Sheeta was a little bit more crisp. I think that's the best way I can describe it, is crisp. She was a little bit more tight and crisp in the ring than it shows that she is, or that it seems like she is now. And I think Pippin made an excellent point that she did have a lot of time off. And, we were even talking with our friends yesterday. Ring shape is totally different than any other type of being in shape. It doesn't matter if you can run 2 hours straight without breaking a sweat, without breathing heavy on a treadmill. That is not the same as being in the ring. So it just takes time. It just takes time to get back in the swing of things. I think that's it.
Yeah. Well, and the other thing, and to that point, when anybody's been out, the best way to prepare to get back in the ring is cardio. But cardio is like, it's just the best thing you can do, but it doesn't mean it's anything like being in a ring, Sheeta's obviously built like bigger than she was. And I think she's been trying to work with that, but maybe she just hasn't quite figured it out yet. That was interesting because obviously
even Swerve has talked about that. Like he talked about like how he had to adjust a lot of how he wrestled based on how much bigger he got. He was like, I had to, there's certain shit that I have to do differently now. Like I can still do everything I used to do, but I have to do it a lot different now, and I have to be more careful because I'm just carrying so much more weight,
Yeah, I was worried about Swerve when he first came back because I truly wondered if he could be the same guy at that size,
Yeah.
Because he's literally as big as he can possibly be. But then the matches with Kenny were very, very good, but the match with Ospreay was like a masterpiece. And I'm like, no, he's still Swerve.
He's fine.
Like,
he's good.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes. So yeah, I think there's more for Sheeta to do, and I think that she's trying to help people get over. And to that end, I thought that Maya World got over in this match, and she looked, I surprised everybody, and it got a huge pop. I think at the end when Sheeta started acting like too good to pin her, kind of, Maya, it became clear Maya was going to make some kind of comeback.
And not for nothing, like this is the perfect time to pull the trigger on somebody specifically like Maya World, because the brother story can only happen right now because it just happened. That's very unfortunate. But if you're going to use that type of stuff for motivational purposes for the story, you have to do that now. You can't wait till next year and say, well, my brother passed last year. It's like, still condolences and everything, but it's not going to be the same impact as freshly when it happened. Like he passed last month or something like that, or 2 months ago. So it's like that is still very freshly in all of our minds. So now you winning a title on top of all of that, on top of going as far as you went in the tournament and, proving to Mercedes and Athena that you can hang with them when you grew up watching, all of that can only happen right now. If you wait to do that, it's not as impactful.
Yep. And Pablo says, I hope she figures it out because I love Sheeta. I love Sheeta. Like I absolutely love Sheeta. So And Answan said the same thing. She's not leaving. She does her streaming, but talks about how much she loves AEW. She is the ace and saved this company. I don't want her to disappear ever. She was a workhorse when they needed her to be. You know, she was champion for a year.
Cheetah's good for life. We love Cheetah.
Whenever there's an AEW Hall of Fame, she's going in it. You know.
Oh yeah.
100%
But yeah,
first
Larry
ballot.
says maybe it's not clicking yet. Yeah, no, that's interesting. I think you guys can tell. Like, I was not expecting anyone to say that. And so
I wasn't either. That's why I was like, hey, this is just my opinion. And
no,
totally.
totally. No, I think that's really good.
Shout out to the chat.
That's good. No, shout out to the chat. Shout out to everybody. Good stuff. You guys give me stuff to think about. I appreciate it. Okay. Next match was Adam Copeland and Christian Cage versus Pac and Claudio Castagnoli. And you know, these Cope and Cage have a very WWE style of working. Like, and I don't say that as a bad thing. It's like, it's a philosophy of doing a tag match that starts slow and involves them usually getting manhandled kind of and pushed around because they're older.
Yeah, you work one guy.
Yep.
The team
and you
beating him down.
You isolate somebody, you know, and then you torture that guy until he can force you to wrestle the other guy, right? Yep. For what it was, I actually thought it was a pretty solid match. And Christian is just very, very entertaining.
He's so good.
I just love the guy so much. Kaylee and I were talking, like, it really hit me. I had like almost like a sober stoner moment where I was like, this motherfucker is wearing a turtleneck and like camping cargo pants and wrestling boots. Like, what the fuck is even happening here? Like, how did this become the reality? And he's a baby face. Like,
and the funniest part, my friends didn't even question that. They were just like, "Oh, okay, he's wearing a turtleneck. That's cool. Short sleeve at that.
Short sleeve.
Like, they didn't even ask me about it.
It's the funniest fucking shit. It's so fucking good. Pac bumped like, okay. So Pac and Claudio, here's the thing about the Death Riders. The thing that occasionally gets on my nerves. Okay. Pac and Claudio are two of the most selfless fucking guys there are in the business because they're so good. You put them back in Japan, you put them on the indies, they're your world champion, right? They're jobbers to the stars. That's what they do. They lose mostly, right? Danny Garcia and Yuta, I mean, they lose pretty much every match they're in, right?
Yeah.
And you have and Marina even doesn't win that often.
Marina doesn't win.
Yeah, Moxley is the only real killer in this group, like as far as win-loss record. Like, this group is about Mox. It's much less so about everybody else. And obviously with Ospreay being there for the time he was there, and God only knows what his status is now, but him being there for the time that he was there, Ospreay's obviously on another level too. You know, I'm on another level, bruv. But these guys are so selfless, and they're working with these guys who are, you know, not their generation, but just before them, you know, because Pac's got to be 40 now, you know, Claudio's like my age, I think 46, something like that. And, you know, Cope and Christian are both in their 50s, and they're able to do what they're doing because of guys like Claudio and Pac, because they bumped for them, sold like total champs for them. It was amazing. And it made the match. It really did. I thought Pac and Christian were like the MVPs of this one. I love Cope and Cage. I love their dynamic. But at the end of the day, they won. We knew they were going to win. You know, it's not like, yeah, we're going to have Claudio and Pac win the tag titles just before All In. Like, we knew that's not happening, you know? But But yeah, I thought it was a solid match, and that's all you can really expect. But it's really about the end. You know, they're in the ring, and the Bucks music hits. The Bucks walk out on the screen. They just say it. There's no mic exchange. It's just the match has been made. The Bucks versus Cope and Cage. The Bucks are going to have such a fucking great match with these guys.
Yeah.
Like, what'd you guys think of the match? Pippin, what'd you think?
I mean, it was fine. You know, I don't think it's gonna. You know, I'd be surprised if it's on anybody's match of the night, list.
No,
but it wasn't
not at all.
bad. It was fine.
Mm-hmm. Shane?
It was filler. It was a good filler match, I think.
Yeah.
You know, it was a good palate cleanser, I guess, if you will, a good reset point in the pay-per-view. You know, all of those things. You know, obviously the Bucks coming out at the end and challenging them, for the match at All In. That was the main reason for the match, was really just to get to that. So, I mean, as far as the storyline beat and leading into All In, it did its job. So,
well, Pippin is we've stayed up past parental hours, so Pippin has to take a bow. But thank you so much for joining us, friendo. It's always a blast having you, and we'll have you back soon.
Absolutely.
But we'll finish this off for you, friendo.
All right.
Take care.
Take care.
Bye.
Peace, cousin.
All right. So yeah, I thought the match was fine, but it was really about the end with the graphics, and they were awesome. That was awesome. And I liked that they didn't fuck around. They just showed the graphic. Like, that was the whole point, and they did it. So, very, very good stuff. And you remember that match the Hardys and the Young Bucks had at Double or Nothing right before Jeff fucked everything up, kind of?
Yes.
The Young Bucks made the Hardys look so good. Like, so good.
I mean,
match.
they're so good at putting together matches. Like, they know what all of their opponent's strengths and weaknesses are, and they know how to make those things look good.
Yeah. So imagining them working with these guys who are much more like prime athletic shape than the Hardys were, like, this is going to be really, really good. Like, I
can't wait.
Yeah.
And I hope it still leads to they'll probably have to just call it a ladder match, but it will, for all intents and purposes, be a TLC match whenever FTR comes back. And I think that should be, like, I mean, if I'm booking a retirement angle for Edge and Christian, that's their last match. They have a triple threat TLC, and they basically just redo the Dudleys and Hardys match from WrestleMania 2000, was it?
Yep.
Yeah.
2000. And then they did another one in 2001. Like,
that's SummerSlam, I want to say.
Yeah, they did a SummerSlam one, and then they did one at 17, didn't they? In Texas?
Maybe that's the one I'm thinking about.
Yeah, I think
that is the one. That's the one. It was the one at 17. Yeah.
Antoine says, I want to make a decree. They are no longer the Young Bucks, just the Bucks.
They want to be forever young.
Player line, this will sound like a silly thing, but I think the way we still call them Young Bucks kind of misleads you away from remembering that all the other tag teams were considered veterans by their latte 30s, but I think he meant late 30s. Like the Bucks are at now, like these are full-on vets. Matt Jackson, I believe, is 40. So, like, Nick's like 35, 36. So
they just they look young still. That's the thing. Like, they've been able to maintain like their boyish charm, I think, throughout their career, and I think part of that is because they have never been like really big guys. Like, they never got to like Kenny size or, you know what I mean? Like, they've always been small in stature, and I think it's easier to look young when you're small.
Good point.
So I think that's a part of it.
Good point. That's well said. All right, man. Well, I know this was the match you were looking forward to the most. We got the Painmaker versus the Psycho Killer. And this could have been much worse than it was. And I will say, Jericho did a good job playing the Painmaker in this one because he played it totally differently than he has in every other match. Like, it would just be Jericho doing like this look constantly. And that was basically the Painmaker, right?
Yeah.
But he went a lot further with it in this match than he has in the past. And the man put his body through hell in this match. And it was, in my opinion, it was way better than I ever thought it would be. And I enjoyed it a lot. I actually thought it was a really good match for what it was.
My favorite moment of the match, for sure, without a doubt, no debating, is Tommaso Ciampa wrestling against the stuffed animal mascot and Aubrey actually counting a pinfall. Best part of the match.
I love that Ciampa.
I looked at my friends and I go, see, this is why we love professional wrestling. This will never happen in any other sport. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, this is part of the magic right here. And listen to the crowd. They're into it. They're actually like into the fact that he's wrestling this stuffed animal. Like,
he did like a code breaker to a stuffed animal and tried to pin it. And then Jericho like kicks
he had to
him
interrupt
off
the count, didn't he? Like,
he interrupted the count
because Aubrey was counting.
And then he kissed the little Canadians, guy. It's so
like it's shit like that to where it's like Jericho, even if he athletically can't do the things that he used to do, which nobody can once you're 50, what the fuck can you do that you were doing at 30?
He's like
you know
55.
what I mean? Like, nobody. Even more so, right? So like there's that. Now, do I think that there is an argument of like, does he take too much TV time from people that could be coming up? Yes, that argument is valid, I think. That said, he has so much wrestling knowledge from all of his world travels, being in Mexico, being in Japan, being in Canada, being in the United States, in different companies in the United States. He's wrestled for every company in the United States except TNA, I think. You know what I mean? So so he just has a wealth of wrestling knowledge that if you've only been watching since, let's say, the PG era, there's just certain shit that you wouldn't even think to incorporate in a wrestling storyline or a wrestling feud. Or, if you only were watching from the Attitude Era onwards, then there's certain shit from the 90s that really worked that you'll have no knowledge of. Jericho has all of that knowledge, so he can bring something like a stuffed animal into a wrestling match and have Aubrey actually count. Like, nobody else in AEW is going to do something like that because their frame of reference is from a much more recent frame of time frame, whereas Jericho has all the way back to basically the 80s to pull from, like direct knowledge, not even just stuff that he heard or stuff that he watched, like stuff that he experienced and stuff that Don Callis taught him in the 90s and like crazy shit, you know what I mean? So it's like there's an appreciation for Jericho that I think I'll always have. And he was one of my favorite wrestlers at one point, like, in that kind of his cruiserweight going into WWE when he cut that promo on The Rock and like those first like several years of his WWE career, he was phenomenal. Like, I loved him. The HBK matches at Mania. So it's like having all of that memory will forever keep me from completely hating Jericho, despite some of the stupid shit he does and says on his podcast and some of the guests that he has on there. And, I think that's more stupidity rather than anything nefarious. So with those things in mind, I fuck with Jericho. This match
I do too. I do too. Look, hey, like when they showed I got to read this from Yeti Malone. I hope you're hungry. Jericho's in the kitchen making pain. And Blair Light makes a great point. Ciampa is fucking amazing when he's a full psycho killer menace. He really is. And I do have to say them saving all the blood for this match made this match feel even more violent. than it would have otherwise. Like, this is, I think, the only match where anybody bled. But it was extremely violent. I mean, really, like, breaking mirrors on each other, breaking all kinds of shit. This is the best way to have Jericho wrestle, is like in these kinds of plunder matches where he can punch and kick, maybe do one move here or there, do a code breaker. You know, he can only get one knee up for a code breaker now, but it still looks like it would hurt. You know what I mean? And so if you're gonna have Jericho in the match, I think I had said I wanted them to leave this at a one match thing because I wanted Ciampa to get the rub, you know?
Yeah.
But the way Ciampa lost this match was by kicking out of literally every finisher Jericho has, right? Jericho realized, I can't pin this guy and I can't make him submit. So I'm going to drill into his fucking skull, and the ref stopped the match. Like, that's how
creative ending too.
Lost. So Ciampa really didn't look bad, even in losing. Like, he never
creative
said
ending.
Yeah, he didn't take a pin. So it was just Jericho was willing to be a little bit crazier than he was, or Jericho got enough of an advantage to be crazier than Ciampa in this particular match. I don't think it actually really hurt Ciampa that much. It was done as well as it could have been done if he was going to win, you know? Antoine says Kyle bled a little bit. This was the most perfect way to use Jericho in his current form. Beef Mordos, great point. As long as Jericho just keeps telling mini side stories, I'm fine with his return. And that's what this felt like. And the Ricochet thing felt like. It was just many little side stories. You know, he's off TV most weeks, and if he is on TV, it's to do an interview, and he's takes up about 5 minutes usually. So
it hasn't been as egregious as it was during the learning tree days.
Right. The learning tree, he's going to the ring with these two idiots and like doing this really stupid gimmick that really wasn't getting over with anybody and trying to make it happen, but the crowd just didn't want it. And they're in the ring for 15 minutes, you know? So, I thought it ended up feeling like a justified pay-per-view match. But Shane, you told me before we went live, tell them what you told me about this match.
Oh yeah. So for the people who had never watched wrestling before, who I was watching with, this was their favorite match of the night.
Right.
So yeah, they absolutely loved it. The only interesting comment about that was he did notice that they were like significantly older than a lot of the other people, and he was like it does seem like there's like a lot of old guys wrestling now. Like, are they like what's going on with that? And I was like, that's actually just this match, kind of. I was like, if you watch like the vast majority of the other matches, like a lot of these people are in their 20s and early 30s still. I was like, this just happens to be, and it was funny because it was back to back. It was the Claudio Pac, Edge and Christian match, and then this. So he was like, what's up with all the old guys? And I was like, that actually makes sense why you would think that, but no, we just happen to catch it in this pocket of older wrestlers. Like, but no, they this was their favorite match of the night though. And that's why I was like, oh, okay, I think hardcore matches are easier to pull somebody in as like, because of the spectacle of it. Like, it'll make it's almost like a car crash. Like, anybody is going to look at it and be like, what the fuck is going on here? And then if you watch long enough, then you might enjoy it. So I think that was the thing that kind of got, that hooked them in for the rest of the show.
Yeah. And I think somebody told me a long time ago, like, if you want to show somebody wrestling who doesn't watch wrestling and you actually want them to be entertained by it, show them something funny. Or show them something like really spectacle-y. Like, show them, this is why WWE reaches the common fan so easily, is because it's 90% spectacle and 10% wrestling, right?
Yeah.
So you don't show them Okada versus Omega because they're not ready to take it seriously, right? They're not like ready to look at the athletic endeavor because to them, this is all fake and fixed, right?
Exactly.
So you show them an Orange Cassidy match.
Get them to that point.
Yeah, and you can get them there. but start off with like an Orange Cassidy match. Start them off with Timeless Tony Storm, and you could progress them in that direction. You know what I mean?
Right.
But this is a great match to show for that same reason. Chris Jericho's possibly a person they've heard of before, but even if not, this was so over the top and ridiculous that it was like,
kind of doesn't matter. It doesn't even matter what the story was going into it. You can just look at the match and see the value of the match for the match's sake without any other context.
Yes. Larry Line says Ciampa played his part perfectly of a man who knows he's been gaslit into taking the Painmaker seriously. He just goes fully unhinged and plays into the silly side of it. The spot you described where he fucking hits the code breaker on the little doll and then covers him and makes Aubrey count was so great.
That was awesome.
Aubrey's selling in this match, by the way, was fucking next level. It was so good. She was like cowered in fear of both of them a lot and was just like, no, you're not going to do this. Then they would do something crazy and she's like, I'm going to try to count, but like there's glass everywhere. Like, you know, like Blurry Line, I agree with this. Jericho's career should very much be exclusive to plunder matches, stadium stampedes, and cinematic matches. I completely agree. You know, him doing the Ricochet stuff, Ricochet is so much better in his prime, closer to his prime than Jericho is. It's just too noticeable, you know?
That's the thing, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Ricochet's a freak athlete anyway, you know, but like
Jericho, like even in his one-on-one matches, like if you want to have him in regular matches, they should be a lot more brawl based now, like rather than wrestling move based. You know what I mean? Like Jericho shouldn't really be like maybe some Germans and belly to bellies and stuff like that. Stuff that you could like reasonably see somebody do in a public fight. Like if you were walking down the street or at the bar, like somebody might hit somebody with a belly to belly. That's a thing. So like, okay, do that kind of stuff. I don't want to see you jumping off the top rope. I don't want to see you doing, you know, maybe do the lion salt just because you can still do it and it looks cool. That's about it though. Like outside of that, you should be doing a really mat based offense going forward. Like that's the only way that it's going to make it like seem, I guess, believable, because like you said, like there's nothing you can do with Ricochet. Like, come on. Like, you know what I mean?
Yes. Big Ad says Old Man Jericho without the vortex effect is the best version right now. Yeah, exactly. Blurry Line, I'd sincerely hope that the Painmaker character was killed off forever this match, but I do now want one more match with some cinematic elements against Leo Rush. The Painmaker versus Leo Rush would be awesome. That would actually, cool. And if you thought you would hear me say before this match with Ciampa that I would like to see the Painmaker again, that would have never happened. So this is like, Ciampa really, really helped this situation a lot. Yeti Malone, Ciampa is 29. No, he is not. He's 40. He looks like he's 65 because of all the gray in his beard. But he's
My friend
awesome.
Called him Muscular Santa.
Yeah. Betty the Bear, Orange versus Ospreay is a fun first match. Bit of haha, bit of athleticism, and bit of eye candy. The eye candy being Shibata. 100% agree on all counts. Blurry Line says this is going to be a weird comparison, so bear with me. If you've ever seen like Strictly Dancing with the Stars, every year they'll have like one old guy celeb who gets paired with this 25-year-old professional dancer, and it's kind of for comic relief of this old uncoordinated guy trying to drag this flowing professional around the dance floor, and you kind of feel bad for her. That's Jericho's regular singles matches against current guys. Yeah, I mean, okay. There are plenty of reasons to give Jericho hell. His ability to put out the best with his opponents is not a valid one. Beef Mordos, you guys, I have to admit this. I love the Painmaker gimmick. I have no reason. I just do. Please forgive me. Okay, so Beef Mordos, here's the trick at the end of this. Degree and I were talking about this, and we were like, we hate the Painmaker, right? But all the reasons we hate the Painmaker is also why we love the Painmaker, because it's this old, very out of touch gimmick, and it's the most pro wrestling shit ever. And you can only do this in pro wrestling, and that's awesome.
And it kind of doesn't even make sense at all because
It
it's
doesn't
like,
make any sense.
you only created the name because of Okada. You haven't. Why are you like?
And
why
it's
is it
such
a whole
a
nother
corny
persona now?
retort to Rainmaker. I mean, Okada cooked him. He was like, "What does Painmaker even mean?" Like, oh no, it's such a dumb gimmick, but that's kind of why it rules at the same time.
That's why
Like,
it works.
That's why it works. That's why it works. So I respectfully hate the Painmaker. It's a terrible gimmick on its face, but it also rules. It's wrestling, baby.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Next
Don
match.
Callis, in a nutshell.
Yeah. Oh my God. Don Callis. Yeah.
We cannot stand that guy, but like if anything happened to him in real life, we'd be sad as shit. Like we love that guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Beef Mordos adds, yes, that's it. He looks like a bad failed one-hit wonder hairband bassist. It's like if Finn Balor was still doing the Demon when he was 55, and if the Demon paint was just like a Kiss fan. All right. We'll move on to the next match. It's I forgot this match was even happening by this point in the show. Andrade versus Mark Davis. I think we all knew Andrade was winning this match.
Yes.
But Andrade has new music.
Yes.
And it really, really worked. I really liked it.
Yep.
The joy on this man's face was impossible not to just fill you with joy yourself. Like,
yeah,
he is having the time of his life right now.
Yeah, whatever was going on his first run of AEW, that is clearly not an issue now because he is having wonderful matches. He's on TV consistently, which lets you know he's not having any issues backstage with anybody. So that's a good sign. You know, again, the person that he had issues with was in the same crew as his brother. So I'm sure even if they did have issues, that probably got squashed behind the scenes anyway. But it doesn't seem like there's any new issues coming up. And the gimmick is gotten over. It's working. That stupid ass how you know. Somehow that works, and the crowd is chanting how you know. And I'm like, all right, well, whatever. I'm the oddball. I don't understand it, but hey, it's working. Run with it. So shout out Andrade, you know what I mean? Representing for all my Brown brothers out there and holding it down, you know what I mean? I love that he kind of just naturally morphed into a Shawn Michaels / Eddie Guerrero gimmick, but he's still completely himself.
Bro, like, you explained this gimmick so perfectly. It's like Shawn Michaels combined with Eddie Guerrero with a little bit of MMA training or something thrown in there. Like that elbow thing that he does, you know, like the
oh my God,
fake out.
Such a cool move.
How could Jericho even do the Judas effect anymore? Like, dude, no.
He
like,
shouldn't.
So
stick with the Boston Crab, my boy.
Yeah. Do that in the line salt. You're good, bro. I loved this match. I thought it was so fun. I think Mark Davis had a great title reign for a guy who had it for such a short time. What I like about the national title is it changes hands pretty regularly. Like, they don't bog it down by keeping it on somebody forever. Ricochet, I think, had the longest reign. Jack Perry, I think he had it a couple months. Mark Davis, couple months. You know, I could see Andrade maybe having the longest reign when it's all said and done. But really, there's not a whole lot to say about the match because these guys are just fucking great. Go watch the match. But yeah, look, you're getting a lot of love for the description there. 100% best description of Andrade. He's a sexy boy Latino. He's a real Latino man, baby. He's a real Latino man. Antoine says, I still think Andrade is such a New Japan strong style wrestler. AEW is finally allowing his ring set to be fully utilized. I agree. Yeah. I've always seen greatness in this guy, but he had never shown it to me on the personality level. And I'm so happy to see it happening now, you know, like, yeah, I've always been an Andrade fan. When he left AEW the last time, I was so disappointed. And I really was so disappointed with how his whole run in AEW went. because I felt like that was the place for him where he could really be a star. And when he came back, seeing how serious Tony was immediately, the first night he's back, he attacks Kenny, the first night he's back, then he disappears because he's getting sued. And then Tony gets him out of his contract. And then he is putting him over Swerve. He's putting him over Kenny. He's putting him over, like serious people. It's for real.
Well, I make this joke that Kenny, Swerve, and Andrade are the same guy, just in different races. So Black Kenny is Swerve.
Yes.
Mexican Swerve is Andrade.
Yeah.
White Andrade is Kenny. Like they're all the same guy. You know what I mean? So.
You nailed it. No, that's very, very true.
So that made so much sense when he put him with them immediately. I was like, yeah, he belongs there, and he looks like he belongs there.
He does.
Like,
and
it didn't take much convincing.
I think there's a real chance he could be a world champion at some point. Like, yes. He is made to be a babyface with this persona. This is a babyface. He can't be anything else. But Beck says the how you know makes no sense, but I'm like, okay, how you know? And that's wrestling, right? That's wrestling, right? It's the same thing I was saying about the Painmaker. No, it doesn't make any sense. And it's stupid because it became a GIF, basically, that people would use all the time because it was funny how he said it in that particular promo. Okay, how you know? But it became a GIF that took off, and then he turned it into a catchphrase that makes no sense half the time it's said. And then in the middle of the match last night, before he does a move, he goes, how you know? And then he does the move, and the crowd goes ape shit. It was so awesome. It was rad. I loved it. But after he won, there was like this euphoria in the crowd coming through the screen. The pictures that I've seen of him walking to the back with that belt, his post thanking his mom and all the fans today. Holy shit. Like, we are all just falling in love with Andrade. Like, he's amazing.
Yeah. He, it's, like, I think we just truly appreciate the skill that we knew. It's kind of like Ricochet in a way too. Like, it's fun to hate on Ricochet because that's the gimmick. Like, that's what he's doing. But he has been appreciated on a level so high, by just being able to come over here and do what we all knew he could do. I think that's the thing. Like, when people are able to finally show us what they're capable of, then it's like, man, this guy should have been up top. Like, you know what I mean? So it's like, it's easy to sort of get the respect, I guess, for the lack of a better word right now that I can't think of. I'm sure there's a better word, but I guess it's easy to, like, get the respect of the audience and everything. Like, when people know what you're capable of and then you're finally able to show it, then everyone's just like, oh yeah, this is what we've been waiting on. Push this guy to the moon. Like, you know what I'm saying? So
yes. Beck says, I also love how Andrade taking his pants off means you're about to lose. Like it's gotten serious now. He's down to the stripper undies, like,
or
like,
win, depending on your perspective, Hey,
we all win. We all win. Skeward says Andrade is going to be a world champion in AEW multiple times over. It's inevitable. He's got the for real Eddie Guerrero vibes big time right now. Just like he's connecting so well. It's crazy. Blurry Line, he was the one man who actually made use of the Redemption pay-per-view name. He redeemed his first tenure being a flop. He showed us now what he's truly capable of. And I think as a fan, that's what, I carried a candle for Andrade and it felt like I just got screwed for like caring, and to see that kind of redeemed in this way is like, makes you love him even more, is like, he did have it in him. He did. BJ is in the chat. What's up, buddy? Hope you're doing good. We're doing great. Antoine said, Andrade is my MVP of the show for being the most graceful and deserving of what his spot is. It's taken a decade. Now I need an LIJ reunion. Hell yeah.
Yes.
And BJ says, hello, Shane.
What's the deal?
Yes. Skeward says, Andrade taking his pants off means the opponent loses, but we win.
There you go.
Benny the Bear. Andrade is making a case for Wrestler of the Year, New Japan, AEW, and all points in between. He's definitely making a case for that. All right. And you know, this adds to Andrade's, you know, punishing the Callis family. He's taking one belt at a time away. So, you know, I feel like he's going to end up wrestling Kyle Fletcher at some point because Tony loves fucking having champions wrestle each other for belts. So, we'll see. Next match, Willow Nightingale versus Tekla. God damn it.
I'll make all the same points I made earlier. Everybody for the most part, and I totally understand, I totally get it. Everybody for the most part was not ready for Tekla's reign to be over. And I get it because Tekla's amazing. Tekla's a superstar. Tekla was possibly the number one person in AEW, period, for a certain amount of time there.
Yeah.
I grant all of that. I love Tekla.
Mm-hmm.
However, again, if we're looking at historical context and we're looking at representation and sort of what AEW, whether this is on purpose or not, has essentially represented, it's important for them to do this in this moment when, you know, the country is as tense as it is. You know, we're having, you know, stories like, you know, Nolan Wells, rest in peace. We're having stories like Carmelo Anthony in Texas and, you know, the Austin Metcalf, the young man who lost his life down there. You know, rest in peace to him as well. Fuck his dad, but rest in peace to him. With all of these things going on, it's really important for people to have that representation and for people to like it. Like, I saw no backlash really when Willow won, even though everyone was like, Tekla still needs the belt. We're not ready for Tekla to lose. When Willow won, nobody was sad still. Everyone was still really happy for Willow. And that's important to see as well. That's important for people like me to see. That's important for people like Antoine to see. So it's like, it's good that our happiness doesn't cause you guys' anger in a sense, right? So it's good for those reasons. It's good for the historical context because now we have Mercedes versus Willow at All In, two black women that are headlining the show. It took the other company how long before they had two black women not just headline WrestleMania, but like even be on the show?
Yeah.
You know, wrestling against each other. Like, this shit took forever. You know what I'm saying? Like, for them to do it. AEW's been around for 7 years and they're already about to do it. And again, right now is important to do it. Tekla is a star. You can really put her in the title picture at any given time. It'll always make sense. She's always, I think, going to be looked at as a Tony Storm level, Mercedes Moné level competitor at this point. I think she solidified her spot and she can win that title back again. You can run it at All In next year, Tekla versus Mercedes, or at any other big show. I don't think it takes away from Tekla to not do that match now. I think it does potentially take away from Willow if you don't do that match now. So that is more or less where my thought process going into this match was. Now, with the Maya World win earlier, I really wouldn't have been mad if Tekla had won. But for Willow and Maya World to both win, thank you, Tony Khan.
The Maya World win threw me for a loop. It did make me start to rethink because you know, I did predict that Willow would win this one, but I started questioning myself because I'm like, are they going to have two babyface title changes like in the women's division that only has two singles titles? They're going to change both of them tonight. And thankfully they did. I said it in the group chat and I will say it here. Chris Statlander was given the opportunity last year to join Mercedes and Tony as the tippity top of the division. And I think what was discovered was that Chris had a little work to do on the character side. You know, she wasn't quite there yet. They gave her consecutive wins, 2 wins over Toni Storm and 1 over Mercedes. Right? She just wasn't quite ready. And that's okay. No dig at Chris at all. They had a match where she beat Tekla, but the crowd was chanting for Tekla, right? It was obvious that Tekla was the one with the steam. And so they had another match 2 weeks later, and Tekla won that title. Tekla held that belt for 4 or 5 months during one of the worst periods for the women's division that I can recall, honestly.
Yes.
It was really, really bad. No Mercedes, no Tony. So Tony Khan just backburnered most of that division to his shame. Okay? Like, no excuses. Like, that was not good. Tekla,
yeah, no, because you have other people that you could insert in that spot, and for some reason the trust isn't there. Like, as far as on the entertainment side, right? Like, because I think that's probably because all the women can wrestle their ass off. That's not a problem for any of them. It's about the character development. You have Harley, you have Marina, you have Mina, you have like there's so many other people whose characters are developed enough, and maybe they need more work in ring. You know what I mean? Like, there has to be that balance. Like, and so I think that's the problem, is the only total packages he has were Mercedes and Tony, and they both were gone, you know, and Britt Baker, like, we don't know what's up with her really, but she's kind of a total package, I would argue, as well. Because she can, she has the mic skill, she has the character, and she's got the in-ring. So,
and then he was going to pivot from Tony to Willow, and she got hurt, right? And future uncertain. So really, really thrown into chaos at that point, right? And in my opinion, you still have Athena, who could be in that pantheon with those ladies anytime. But Tekla, through terrible booking, really shockingly bad booking, very little support from the office, made herself undeniable
through sheer will,
through sheer determination and force of personality. Tekla is now one of those people you have to put her on TV, whether she's got the belt or not.
Yep.
So she got everything out of the world title that you can get out of the world title. She elevated herself. She elevated a bunch of people that she worked with, and she had great matches. She
elevated the title.
Yeah,
I think the title feels
more
important.
So you've made that third star. Tekla's there with Mercedes and Tony now. Now it's Willow's turn. Can you do it, Willow? She deserves,
and not for nothing, I think people outside of the company, they know Tekla. You know, just like they know Mercedes and they know Tony. Like, people who don't watch AEW, they're like, I like her though. So that's always kind of a big thing to pay attention to. Like, when people outside the company recognize that, that means that person's a star.
And you've got Tekla doing this thing with Stardom. You've got Tekla. I mean, she's generating buzz with everything she does. You know, like, this woman is taking the wrestling industry over single-handedly by herself. She is like choking the wrestling industry out and going, "You are my bitch." Like,
and that may be, do you think, and this isn't me trying to give Tony Khan slack, or, you know, when he doesn't deserve it necessarily, but just throwing a theory out there. Do you think that it's possible that he's like, I'm not going to book Tekla, I'm going to let her do what she thinks is like, you know what I'm saying? Like, how much of this do you think is Tekla took the ball and ran with it because TK wasn't providing opportunities and she was like, well, I'm going to make it happen myself? Or do you think there's any coordination there where it's like, no, Tekla, you're your own unique thing. I wouldn't be able to properly book you, so you just run your ideas by me, and if we can let it rock, then we'll let it rock. Because there was a lot of times where she was just coming out in the middle of a show through the crowd with a mic talking shit. That's probably not a Tony Khan idea. You know what I mean?
No. I don't know how much is what, but what I can say is him letting her be herself and not trying to correct her or like stifle her. With her, she's the kind of dynamo that you just let her do her thing.
You just let her go. She's a diamond.
She can lose a fucking match. It doesn't matter. Because Tekla's bigger than a fucking match. You know what I mean? You want to see her call people dumb bitches. You want to see her fucking have those really great, super physical style matches where she is laying her punches in so snug, they could be real, you know? And she makes her opponent hit her just as hard back, you know?
Yeah.
Her and Mina in the ring together, they fucking beat the shit out of each other.
Yeah,
you
they
know,
go
like,
right back to Japan with it.
Holy shit, you know? Like, her and Tony one day are going to have an incredible feud. And I can't wait for all that stuff. But Tekla doesn't need the title anymore. She doesn't need the match at All In. I get why people want that. But if the rumors are true and Kairi Sane, you know, if she's with Barry Bloom, who represents the Elite and Hangman and fucking everybody else in AEW, Chris Jericho, all these people, if she's coming to AEW, you've got an All In match right there.
And it makes so much sense story-wise because Kairi was always, you know, she's one of the OGs, one of the legends from Stardom. So who better to stop the reign of terror against Stardom than a legend of Stardom who everybody wants to see anyway? Like, that's what I mean. So it's like, it almost makes more sense for Tekla to not have the belt because you don't want Kairi to come in and win it immediately.
No.
You know what I mean? Because she's beating Tekla. You know what I'm saying? Like, that should be how it goes. So, right? So, I mean, you kind of have to move the belt away from that program. And then again, she will always be at the top of the card. So there's you can easily slot her back in for a world title shot whenever you want.
And then she's going to hold that belt like several more times. Like Tekla's, you can't keep her down. Like she will steal the TV time back by popular demand. She will make herself undeniable every time. I think Tony Khan knows that. That's why he signed her to like a 5-year deal when she was still under contract for a few more years, you know, because he obviously recognizes what he's got. So Willow winning so all of that is to tell the Tekla fans, look, you might be disappointed, but don't be, because this is just the beginning for her. She is going to be a legend, an all-time legend. All right. She's working her way there right now. This 1-year run she just had, fucking unbelievable. That said, Willow has earned every fucking minute of this, every second of this. Willow has improved her promos. She knows exactly who her character is. I loved this match. I loved how they matched up together. I loved that Willow was like not being respectful or nice. She was using her size to her advantage. But conversely, Tekla never backed down to her. And after a short time, Tekla's fucking dominating Willow physically, even though she's like half a foot shorter than her. You know what I mean? Like, they told an amazing story in this match, and in the end, Tekla just got caught and pinned. And Willow was a better woman, period. There's no fuck finish. There's no bullshit. Sky Blue ran down to run interference for a sec, but that was it. Tekla tried to cheat, and it didn't work. Willow
nothing. I think Willow retains at All In. I don't think Mercedes takes the belt.
That's the better story. In my opinion, it's a much better story if Willow wins. Then you crown your champion. That's the real crowning right there, right? Like, having the belts is great. Getting the biggest star in the company to put you over like that.
And it'll be the second time she dropped the belt to her before. You know, the IWGP belt that they made for Mercedes. Didn't Willow end up winning that first? I mean, granted, it was through an injury, but still. Yeah. You know, you're playing off of that story still. You know, so there's that. And then, I mean, in the TBS title, she took the TBS title from her. So, you know, she has a history of beating Mercedes. I think this is just my prediction, just to not go too far off the rails, because I know we got the title, the Kenny versus Kevin match still. But I think I see a world where Mercedes loses at All In, Willow retains. Either potentially because of a debut, which makes Mercedes lose, or a debut which will then, you know, like, it's going to be Davina Rose, obviously, which is Bailey. But I think what happens is Mercedes loses at All In, somehow gets back in the rematch picture, defeats Willow, at probably World's End, and then you have Davina Rose versus Mercedes at some big showdown. Like, that makes the most sense for Mercedes to get the belt then when she's bringing in Bailey. You know what I'm saying? Like, because I think everybody kind of expects Mercedes to win it All In. Like, just because, well, Mercedes, it's her time now. Why? Doesn't have to be.
No.
You know what I mean?
I mean,
So,
Mercedes
that's
is
the way
already,
I see it going.
yeah, Mercedes is bigger than any belt, you know? And when she finally wins that belt, it's going to make that belt bigger, that it took someone as great as her so long to win it, you know?
Yep.
And I think Mercedes understands that the journey is the story here, you know, for her. So, yeah, Willow, this is her time right now. I'm so excited for her. And Tekla has a million stories she can go off and do now, you know. She could just run roughshod with the triangle, you know. And just fucking be, you know, crazy and attack people and be a faction for a while, or she can help them win the tag titles at some point, or whatever.
They're trios champs right now too, so they already got stuff going with that. Like, they could be sort of defending those against women's trios in AEW. You know what I mean? Like, so that could definitely work too.
Yeah, I think that at the end of the day, Willow needed to win this match. Because you only have a month. Tekla's a heel. Mercedes is a heel. They both have entourages. They're both very hard to make sympathetic. And I think if you pressed the crowd, they would pick Tekla. And do you really want to turn Tekla babyface? Because ultimately you would have to. You wouldn't have a choice, right?
That was my other thought also. Like, you're going to do a heel versus heel at All In. Like, AEW is more, now granted, I do think they're more of a nuanced company in the sense that they don't really have faces and heels.
Right.
Everyone, like, we've talked about this before, like, where I say everything is based on personal motivation. But some people's personal motivation leads them to do more outright heelish things. So they're just by default in the heel category. And I think Mercedes and Tekla both kind of are unique examples of neatly fitting in the heel category. So that's a hard one to book. It's not like booking, you know, Mox versus somebody where it's like, I kind of get why Mox is being like that, but he's still kind of a dick too. Like, it's not like that with Tekla and Mercedes. They're both just straight evil for the sake of it. So, like,
yeah. And I don't remember if it was after this match or before this match, but somewhere around this match, Mick Foley interviewed Divine Dominion. And basically,
living my dreams, sir.
They mommied Mick Foley, and made him sit down in a chair between the two of them and bark like a dog, to bow down. And he bow wowed over and over again. I saw James Romero.
Bow wow wow yippee-yo yippee-yay.
He's Stevie Richards' co-host on his podcast, and he said this was Mick's. He was very offended by Mick's segment. Thought it was disgusting. I thought it was funny. These ladies knew what this was going on here.
He's Mick Foley. He's never been problematic. He's allowed to fucking enjoy beauty like we all do.
And it was pretty much a nothing like way to do it. Like, he wasn't being overtly anything. Antoine says it best. I'd have done the same thing. Snoop Doggy Dogg is in this house.
You feel me?
You're between two of the just gorgeous women who are like fucking willing to play along and let you do that. Somebody pointed out that Lena was trying so hard not to laugh. Like,
yeah, the whole time. Like, she was like trying not to crack. That's how you know that's another reason that, I mean, and obviously I can only speak so much to this being a man, being a straight man at that. But from what it looks like, you know, when everybody's on board for it, then it's okay, right? Like, it's not misogynistic or gross in any way or anything like that. Yes, they're playing off of sexual undertones, but come on, though. Like, you know what I mean? Like, certain wrestlers are doing that on purpose. We just talked about Andrade and how removing of the pants and showing dong is his signature move.
Yeah, it's like a signature move.
Yes, women do that too. Megan Bain knows the outfit that she's wearing and what the whole outfit is. You know what I mean? Like, she knows what she's doing. So it's like she knows how to make somebody like me fall in love with her. And it's successful. It worked. You know what I mean? I love
it.
Megan
Happens
Bain, so.
probably dozens of times to them every day. Like, you know, like they're Amazonian and gorgeous. Like, what are you gonna do? Blair Line says
gross, you know, that's the main thing.
And they weren't gross. They weren't gross. Mick
he was playing off of it. They were allowing it, you know, like everybody was in on the joke. So
it was a joke that everybody understood, and it was like the Muppets version of it, you know. Blair Line says, I kind of do want a babyface Tekla at some point. The idea of her being a menace for goodwill eventually hit well. Yes, no, she could be like, you just have to be prepared, because she might just become your Stone Cold. It might become the most popular character in your entire company, you know?
Yes.
So you got to be prepared to strap the rocket to her immediately when the time comes. So I think Tekla will be that Stone Cold type babyface at some point. Because my God, they love her. They love her.
Yes.
Beck says, you're meant to bow down. I mean, it's true. And I am absolutely fine.
I do. Yeah. With no problem. No problem at all.
Happily bow down. They are my masters. There's no question. Okay. Last match. Kenny Omega versus Kevin Knight.
Yes.
Kevin's got new music. Andrade's got new music. And Bleary mentioned that Mikey Ruckus did not write either of these. I'm not sure what that's about, but I know Mikey, he's never written all of them. You know, he's written most of them. But maybe they're just going for a different feel, you know? I also think the danger that you run when you have one guy writing all the songs is everybody's got a thing they do, right? Even if your thing's really big and it's like very diverse, at some point things start to sound the same, right? I didn't really hear that in Mikey's stuff, but like maybe they just wanted a different feel for these particular tracks. I think Kevin Knight's new music is really fitting for his character, but him with the dorky ass, the one you look up to, like that is the dumbest, douchiest heel shit ever. And I love it. I love it. Perfect.
I mean, and it's a double meaning because he's the jet and jets are in the sky.
Right.
So you look up and he can jump really high.
And when you're on your back after he just beat you, you're looking up to him. Right. So like, you know,
and
it all
was actually
worked.
a triple.
It all worked. Kevin's also wearing the old school heel boots, the like Arn Anderson, Tully Blanchard, Bret Hart style 80s villain boots. Love it. Love it. Oh my God, I loved it. Nobody does that anymore. I loved it. I'm surprised FTR never really did much with that. I don't think. Because it seems like that's made for them. But love Kevin doing it. Kevin comes down. Kenny gets the big entrance. They have a fucking absolute banger of a match.
Yes.
Loved it.
That was expected.
What I loved about this match and why it was so good is you can see athletically Kevin's already on Kenny's level, right? But in kayfabe, he's clearly not. He's not yet. And they proved it in this match because Kenny at times is manhandling him, right? But Kenny's also doing some heel shit in this match. He's going like, you'll never be me. You'll never be me. Like, he's got that manic, cleaner energy at times. Mm-hmm. And he's had it at other times on some Dynamites before this, right? Like, you've seen a little bit of dark Kenny glimpses peeking through, right? And they have this insane match. I'm not going to go beat for beat. It was really, really, really good. Kevin got out of the one-winged angel in some of the most fascinating ways, athletic ways I've ever seen. And by the end, he proved he belongs in the main event, period.
Yeah.
He was desperate when the match started. Like, he attacked him before the bell rang. He he attacked him while he's doing the Kenny Omega. He attacks him,
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
He didn't give him an inch. And he showed like right off, like, hey, I'm not going to be the nice guy here. Like, I'm coming for you, from the very jump. That's what he was putting across. And I loved that. Kevin really, really impressed me in this match. He wasn't booked to look like Kenny's equal, and he shouldn't be. Okay. Like, he's proving that he can hang. So he could hang, but he's not quite there yet. That was the message of the actual match. And I think that's perfect for where he's at.
I took it slightly differently. I mean, it was basically essentially the same thing. But rather than it being a story of whether Kevin was like physically able to keep up with Kenny, I feel like he did prove that. It was more of the experience factor, more of the veteran versus young guy thing.
Yeah.
I think that was the story that Kenny really did an excellent job getting across in this match, which was, young man, I'm going to teach you a few things. And if it has to, if it has to be a painful lesson, so be it. But I'm going to teach you some things. So that was sort of almost the message I got from that. And until you'll never take this from me, and then I was like, oh, he's pissed at Kevin. Okay. Like,
yeah,
but
yeah.
I still didn't really look at that as like foreshadowing yet.
No, me neither. I mean, there was some that I really didn't see coming. I think that we're saying the same things very differently. Like Kevin got made through this match. But Kenny's experience in main events and as a world champion is what made him the dead odds-on favorite to win. It's like it was about experience and it was about being ready for that moment. And I loved how Kevin sold that by attacking him to begin with. Like, he comes out of the gate kind of like desperate. And, like, that's a rookie move. You know what I mean? Like, you got to pace yourself, build yourself for the longer match because it's a main event. You're not going to put Kenny Omega away in 5 minutes. It's just not going to happen.
Right.
Right. So they told a cool story. Kenny being that kind of self-righteous disciplinarian almost with Kevin was an interesting shade to add to the match. But at the end, I thought the world of both of these guys. It's so good to have Kenny Omega back at full strength. I feel like he is Kenny Omega, the fucking Kenny Omega I know. Yeah. That's who we're getting right now. And I never thought we'd get this again. So I don't care for how long it goes. Maybe it is just through All In. Who knows? But I'm so happy for that. Kevin, his future is so bright. It's crazy where this guy could go from here,
Yes.
But he proved he belonged 100%. Blair Line, Kevin Knight had trained for a 5-minute match with the barrage of offense and sneak attack factor. Kenny trained to weather the storm. Exactly. Beef Morta says, I love that power corrupts Kenny. What are we talking about, guys? I have no idea what you mean. So, earlier in the night, Moxley had, yelled at Will and said, God damn it, Will, I'll do it myself. Kenny wins. He's celebrating in the ring. And Yuta and Garcia run in and start beating him down. And then the rest of the Death Riders follow. Jon Moxley follows. And they're going to like fucking put Kenny's head in the chair and like stomp him out like they did to Danielson. The shit that retired Bryan Danielson. And Will Ospreay runs down and says, no, we're not doing this. This is about him and me. And it doesn't need to be like that. And Moxley's like bewildered. He's like, get the fuck out of the way. Yuta tries to do the thing that Pac did to Yuta, where he like hugs him and tries to move him out of the way and then hold him in place. But Ospreay is just, he's bigger than Yuta. He's stronger than him, and Will ends up punching Moxley and disavowing the Death Riders. And Kenny and Mox tried to make Kenny put the bag over, or tried to make Will put the bag over Kenny's head. And Will tears up the bag. He won't do it. He punches Moxley. He renounces the Death Riders. He helps Kenny to his feet. Kenny picks up the bag. He's like, "What's this?" And Will goes, "I couldn't do that to you, mate. I'm so sorry. I saw him say that."
Mm-hmm.
And Kenny shakes his hand. They both get on a turnbuckle. They pose. Then Kenny looks at Will. He's like, "One more." And Will's like, "Okay, one more." Will gets up on the turnbuckle. They cut away from Kenny entirely. And then Kenny's head shows up under Will's legs, hits him with a one-winged angel. The Young Bucks run down. They're like, "What the fuck, dude?" And Kenny's like, "No, I know exactly what I'm doing. Leave me alone. Leave me alone." This was so well done.
Yeah.
I loved this angle. The tension was so palpable. I thought, is Ospreay going to turn on him even after all this, right?
So I kind of thought, only because I just want to jump in right there at that same point, because I was thinking sort of the same thing. I was like, I wonder if Ospreay is going to swerve everybody by saying like, "No, this is between us, blah, blah, blah. Don't, you guys get out of the ring." And then Mox is like, "What?" And he's like legit angry because he thinks Ospreay is going to do what he actually ended up doing. But then I thought was going to happen was, Kenny was going to be celebrating or whatever. And then Ospreay was going to, hit him with the what's his move? The
elbow, the hidden blade.
Yeah, the hidden blade. Thank you. I thought he was going to hidden blade him, and then Mox was going to be like, "Oh shit, okay, he is one of us." I thought that was going to be how it played out. Because like that would be unexpected of Will Ospreay. You know what I mean? Like he seems like, very honorable and good guy, and that goes against everything that happened earlier in the show. That could have been a way to sort of redeem himself amongst the Death Riders. So I thought that could have been how it played out. Or the other way was it would still play out the same way with Ospreay turning on the Death Riders, but rather than him tearing the bag apart, I thought he was just going to spin around and throw it over Moxley's head and then maybe start attacking him and something like that. That was actually, I think, what me and Pippin both said yesterday when I was talking to them about it. So yeah, it could have played out a few different ways, and each of them would have been equally good, I think. That's the mark of a good story, though, when there's like 3 different ways it could go and all of them make sense. So like, that's storytelling.
Mox is kind of portrayed as the heel when they're kicked out, right? And Ospreay turns on him, and he's going, "God damn it, Will! Like I told you, you got to be careful who you trust," kind of thing. You're used to seeing him being a heel, and so they're leaving, and you're like, Will's turning good. This is good. They're going to be baby faces, whatever. But Moxley was right. You're swimming with sharks, motherfucker. You're in the main event. You can't trust these people. And Kenny is justified in everything he did because Will was very close to putting the fucking bag over his head, right? Like just
and he tried to
seconds
tell him
before.
weeks ago, "Hey, fucking with Moxley's not a good idea." And Will's like, "You don't tell me what to do." All right.
Kenny does. Kenny said it. This is might be my last title reign. I'm not going to fuck around. If this is my last title reign, you're not taking this belt from me at All In. I'm main eventing and I'm winning. So Kenny had the killer instinct to just put him down that Will doesn't have. Yeah. And now Will has ostracized the Death Riders, who did have his back. Now the Elite are showing unity. The Bucks come in. They're like, "Kenny, are you sure about this?" And Kenny's like, "I'm very sure." Then they just pose with him in the ring.
The most unsure pose ever. And they're like, "Okay."
Little guilty flex there. And then they go off the air. Kenny didn't really turn heel. He's just showing a harder edge. Like, I'm not going to put up with your insolence and your bullshit. You're not a kid,
I think
Will.
that really depends on how they follow up with it on Dynamite. It depends on what Kenny does and says on Dynamite, because that's going to be portrayed as a heel move because he did it to Ospreay and everybody loves Ospreay. It's kind of like, it's almost like the Rey Mysterio effect back in the day, where it's like, "Oh, you want somebody to turn heel? Have him fuck over Rey. Everyone will hate him." Like, it's kind of the same thing with Will. Like, "Oh, you need somebody to be a heel? Have him beat up Will Ospreay," and then boom, they're a heel now. So, they're risking running that effect. It really depends on how they tell the story on Dynamite.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it was so well done. So many different little like moments you thought you were getting the moment you were expecting, and then it wasn't. And then when it
Yeah.
finally happened, you were still shocked. It was the camera work was really, really good. And I'm super excited for the match. Like, I'm super excited to see how they tell the story. Is Will going to reunite with Swerve? Is Will going to need backup from Swerve and Hangman? Is Will going to assemble a new United Kingdom to come help him in AEW? You know, it could go a lot of different ways. And
is everyone in the elite going to be down with this new change? Like, is Hangman going to be cool with Kenny's new change? Is Jack Perry going to be cool with the Bucks being down with them? You know, because there's technically 5 of them still in the elite. You know, and just because they're doing other stuff doesn't mean they don't have an opinion about it. And Jack Perry lost, so it's not like he's worried about what's going on with the international title right now.
Right.
So,
Bleary Line says Mox has been correct this entire time. He never forgot Kenny stole the title from him at Winter is Coming. Exactly. Skewered Universe says Kenny will do whatever he has to in order to keep that belt. I think
just getting back to that Mox point really quick, Bleary, because that's kind of what I mean when I say he's the ultimate tweener, because he never does anything for the sake of being a heel or the sake of being a babyface. Like, he doesn't do anything for anyone else's approval. He does everything based off of his own motivations, and whether or not you can align with those motivations or not determines whether or not he's a face or a heel. Has nothing to do with what he's like trying to portray. It's just, this is me, take it or leave it. And some people take it, some people don't.
So I thought of you actually, Shane, when this ended, because you and I talked about that character motivated.
I love you.
Character motivated AEW rather than baby faces and heels.
Yeah.
And I thought the true vision of that was born last night, because nobody in the scenario is actually a full heel. They all have their reasons for why they did what they did. You know what I mean? And they're all kind of justifiable reasons. And so it's just everybody's motivated in their own interest. And so
exactly. And I mean, even the Death Riders as a whole, like, most of the stuff that they do comes off heelish because their motivations tend to align more with the same motivations of that of other heels. But, you know, it's not really like, it's still based on, like, okay, if you're a gang member, which for all intents and purposes, the Death Riders are a gang, right? Like, in wrestling world, that's basically what they are. So, like, they fight each other to get in membership, and they, you know, you got to be a certain toughness level. They're a gang. So that's how it works. In gang rules, like, if one of your homies is going out, even if they're on some bullshit and they're doing something that you don't agree with, you have to have their back anyway. So that's why Marina and Pac and all of them are going to come out and beat up baby faces, because the rest of the gang's doing it. That's what we do. So it's like, even that motivation still makes sense. Like, from a, you know what I mean? It's not necessarily babyface or heelish. Like, families do that. You know, if my cousin's getting jumped, I'm probably jumping in, even if he's wrong. So,
right.
You know,
you still don't want to see him get hurt, you know?
Yeah. And that's how Marina is with her boys. She's like, no, I'm hopping in here because I don't want to see my boys get hurt. It makes sense. Like,
Blurry Line says, I will say the reason the camera work was so good was because it was a shot-for-shot remake of how Kenny became leader of Bullet Club, attacking AJ whilst he was in the corner posing.
Yeah,
it was. I forgot to mention that. And I've seen that footage so many times. And I love how they're like paying tribute to like the Cleaners' greatest hits. You know what I mean? Like, all of this stuff, everything about this story since Dynasty, these things that they do right after the pay-per-views with Will and Kenny talking and all this stuff, has been nodding to various moments in both of their careers. Like, it's like, this is like prestige TV.
Just to go back to it, I think Jericho is doing the exact same thing. That's why I think this is his last run, because he's ran through he hasn't done Y2J outright yet, but he did The List. He did you know, now he's doing the Painmaker. He's done certain like some of his rhetorical gimmicks that he used to do, or, you know, short. Like where he would say certain things about the person that he's short, like, stuff that he would say about the person, things like that. So like, that's an old like Jericho thing. So he's brought like a lot of like his hits back, it seems like. And Kenny, you're saying, is kind of doing the same thing from that, because I'm unfamiliar with that Kenny run. So if you want to enlighten me a little bit.
Sure. Well, and this is the kind of thing that'll make you curious to go watch it, maybe, like, the Bullet Club, you kind of get jumped out of the Bullet Club when you're the leader. Like, you don't just quit.
Right.
You like get destroyed by the next leader, That
happened to AJ, Kenny, and Jay White, right? Like,
yeah, they all got destroyed. Yeah, all of them. I love it. I love that. So I love that it was the thing that he did to Ospreay was like literally the identical thing he did to AJ when he took over the Bullet Club. So that's kind of like him going, no, I'm AEW, not you. Like it's so fucking good, man. It's so fucking good. So even though this pay-per-view wasn't their strongest, it might have been their weakest pay-per-view of the year. So what? Like, something's got to be the weakest, and this was the one. Okay, fine. I still felt like it set up a lot of good stuff for All In. All In, we now know we're getting Willow versus Mercedes. We're getting Kenny versus Will for sure. We're getting Cope and Cage versus the Bucks. Those are 3 marquee matches already, and Mick bringing up the Brawling Birds versus Divine Dominion, like, I think that they're sowing a lot of seeds right now. Kenny and the Bucks being like cutthroat, ruthless, Mox being correct, even if it's not the way everybody wanted to, even if it's not the truth you want to hear, it's still the truth, right?
Yep.
So fucking good shit.
Yeah.
The ending was fucking peak for me. I loved it.
Yeah, like I said, man, if Michael Jordan averages 30 a game, a bad game for him is still 20 points. So AEW getting a 20-point game is still better than the vast majority of every other NBA player out there. So, this is AEW having a 20 or 24-point game.
Right.
When they usually have 30-point games. All right.
It just happens. Fine. Blurry Line makes a good point. My main issue with the pay-per-view is that this felt like a paid show that existed to sell you a better paid show. That is undeniably true. It is. But it didn't really bother me because I've done that before, I guess. I've accepted that before.
Yeah, sometimes you got to do that.
Yeah.
And I do think enough, like, it felt like that, and it only felt like that in certain situations, right? Because there's other things that are like brand new starts that happened yesterday. Again, the Maya World thing, that's a brand new chapter, that starts over this week, and then Sheeta, whatever she ends up doing, as a result of this and her character development, those are 2 brand new stories that could have only happened if the pay-per-view happens yesterday. Same with Willow winning, you know what I mean? Now her and Mercedes story arc can properly start. So there's certain things that had to happen, and they needed an event like yesterday. I mean, I guess you could have did that on a Dynamite, made it a Super Dynamite or whatever like that. Sure. But I think enough pay-per-view worthy things happened on the show to where it wasn't, it's not like the full show was just setting up for All In. Like, enough stuff happened uniquely for that show to where, Andrade winning, that same thing. Like, those are pay-per-view
3 title changes on a pay-per-view is very rare for AEW. So
especially that many.
Yeah. 3 title changes is very, very, very rare. Skewered Universe, I think Redemption could work better if it's always just a one-off and not another full pay-per-view. You'd also take the name Redemption and make it a TV special like Battle of the Belts for a week or a bike, or I'm not sure what the last word is. Beef Mortos, the fact that their worst pay-per-view of the year was still a very, very good pay-per-view is telling of how amazing AEW is right now. Agreed, 100%.
Right.
Well, we almost spent 3 hours talking about a 5-hour show. So I think we've done a very thorough review, my friend. And Shane, I love having you here, man. Tell the people where they can, what you're up to and where they can find you.
I was going to say, let me plug some stuff. So as you all saw, Bex the Destroyer in the chat, I produce her podcasts, plural, Don't Call Me Diva, which we're going to be shooting here shortly once I log off with you. And then we also do the Books and Beck show. So please please join us for those. And then if you just like other types of content that has nothing to do with wrestling, then please follow me at Shane_Ethos or on the Ethos Media Network.
Absolutely. Yeah, definitely check out the Becks of Books show and check out Don't Call Me Diva. Really, really cool as shit. Our buddy Becks is an absolute maniac, and I say that in the most loving, endearing way I possibly can. Keep your ears to the, follow us on social, Sit Down, Shut Up, Mark Out, and Pro Wrestling Forever Pod. Jobber Underground is close to, it's getting closer. So that's going to be out there. Please follow Jobber Underground on all of the social places, on Instagram, on Threads, and on Blue Sky. It's just at Jobber Underground is our username on all of those places. It's kind of a zombie account right now because we haven't posted anything, but we will be posting a lot when it's ready to launch. So follow us now. Thank you all so much. We'll be back on Friday to talk about the fallout from Redemption and whatever the hell else we feel like talking about. But thank you very much. Love you all very much. And until next time, I'm Blade Daily.
I am Shane G.
Pro Wrestling Forever. Oh, all right, everybody. Well, Shane and I are going to spend hours uploading this shit to the server. So
Yep.
This may not be out till like midday or evening tomorrow, but it will be out. And Bex, it was so nice to have you with us. Thank you so much for making the time. My favorite Kiwi. And we will see you soon. Have fun taping. Shane, thank you so much. You guys are the best.
Always a pleasure, man. Always a pleasure. I love being here.
We will talk to you all later.
Shut up.
Forever.
Shut up.
Forever.